She's a primitive Jill.
Can I offer you some tea?
Good tea. Nice house.
Would you make me some of that Plomeek soup?
Hey, hello and welcome to Plomeek Tea Time number 56. And happy December 1st. I thought it might be fun to start off the month with this charming family sci-fi called Bicentennial Man. This movie was recommended to us by the channel subscriber Mick Phoenix, and I asked him which movie he would like for me to review down in the comment section, and he asked about this one. And I thought it would be a fun idea to cover it now since it was released on December 17th as a holiday film. And androids are kind of my favorite kind of sci-fi thing. So here we are today, and I'm so lucky and grateful that today I have our special guest, Retro Nerd Girl.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hey, how are you doing today?
Really good. Really happy and excited about doing this. So
Yeah, me too. And also we have Scotty R37.
Hey, hey. It is
Yeah,
a
how are you
pleasure to
doing?
serve. Is that what he says? A pleasure to serve.
Yeah. And also Pleasant Valley Picker, CA.
Hello. Nice to be here. I'm looking forward to talking about this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. And I'm working on the slides. They're almost ready. But until then, I have some other material for us to look at. And I wanted to say hello to the chat also. Hello to, oh wait, yeah, he's here on the panel.
Yeah, I kind of filled up the chat last night after watching this movie. I was so
Wow, you're really excited about
I
this
was
one.
really so I was just so happy I couldn't sleep. That's what the movie did to me last night. It was like it really affected me. Like, well, I don't want to give any spoilers away yet, but
No, you can talk about whatever you like. On Friday, we can go all over the place. I don't go in any specific order, just whatever strikes you first.
I just wasn't expecting to like the film as much as I did. I guess basically,
Mhm.
you know.
Mm, that's great. Shooter says, "Oh, it's a weekend for him, so he's sleeping in." But if he says, "Oh, he's leaving the stream on," thank you, Shooter. I love to see that you're coming in and saying hello, even though you're not here right now. But I really appreciate your presence here. I do like this comment you make, Shooter. By the way, if cats purring has a positive health effect, then imagine the benefits from a tribble. And yes, that's great because Spock makes a very similar response, saying that it has no effect on him. But the way he says it, it very much had an effect on him.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I guess cats are the only creature on Earth that actually purrs, which is kind of interesting, actually.
Oh, really?
I've always wondered about that. How do they actually do that? Like, how do they purr? You know?
Yeah, and
even
the big cats don't purr.
Exactly. Yeah, they're little kitty cats are kind of unique that way.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Hey, Franco.
Hi, Franco.
Hey, Franco.
That's something you'd want to know if you made a robot kitty. You'd have to know how the robot worked in order
I imagine
to make
they have
a
those.
purring kitty.
They probably have robot kitties over in Japan. I'm just taking a wild guess, but they seem to be really good at that kind of stuff.
You can't train those ones either, though.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a good idea to put a kitty on a leash because if something scares them, they're going to jump straight to your legs like you're a scratching post.
Oh.
I learned that the hard way one day.
Oh.
Hello to Jay Goodwin. How are you doing?
Hey, Jay.
Hi, Jay.
And Gavin. And Jim.
Oh, hey, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, everybody.
I do want to, because approaching this film, I wanted to make sure that there was enough Robin Williams love Like, I am such a huge
Absolutely.
Robin Williams fan, taken too soon due to affliction. Don't want to dwell too much on that. I want to celebrate his life. But also
Well-
I want to celebrate his behind the scenes as well. And Jay Goodwin brings up a good point. The advertising for this movie was terrible. And
Agreed.
it was one of the reasons why Robin Williams had his second falling out with Disney. The first
Oh, really?
famously being with the genie, because he said he would do the genie. And Retro, you do you know the tale of the genie?
I do, but I want to know if it's the same one, because I
Okay.
believe it had to do with his voice, and because they did have to hire another person to come in and do his voice. I think he only really wanted to do one movie, and I don't think he was pleased with the fact that they had somebody else do his voice, the voice of the genie.
Well, from
Kinda-
and famously, Dan Castellaneta came in for Aladdin 2, The Revenge of Jafar, or Jafar's Revenge. But in the first film, he said that he would do the film so long as there wasn't a glut of merchandising and marketing involving his voice. He didn't want the movie to be the centerpiece of their marketing, and he was. And that caused him to sort of, all right, well, fine. If I'm going to be the centerpiece of this, which I didn't want in the first place, are you going to pay me for being basically the star, the attraction of this film? And they were like, nope. In an interview that he had, he said the reason that Mickey Mouse has 3 fingers is so that he can take back some of the money.
Oh man, you know what? That reminds me exactly what the deal with Spock, where they were putting his face all over all this merchandise, and he wasn't getting any of it until he fought for a deal.
And so, as Retro Nerd Girl said, Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson, came in and did the voice of the genie for the television show and the sequel. Aladdin 3, I believe one of the subsequent sequels, direct-to-video sequels, Robin Williams did come back, and sort of Disney repaired the relationship with him professionally. And then when this film was released in 1999, there was problems with the marketing, thought it was horribly marketed. And oddly enough, he did eventually in an interview say he regretted making this film. That's how bad the divide was between he and Disney near the end. And so I don't know. That's the extent of the knowledge.
He regretted making the movie because of the fallout, the relationship that didn't work out.
I'm assuming it was business related because the artistic merit is there.
Well, it's one of his.
It is there because when I watch a interview with him talking about it, he seems to have a deep understanding of it and Asimov's story too.
Well, I think it's one of his best performances personally. After I watched the film last night, it's like, this is incredible. Like, Robin Williams is one of those actors which I totally get his great amount of talent. Like, the guy had a huge amount of talent, like crazy amount of talent. Like, the way he could just, do his comedy routines and go off on tangents one after another, like just pulling it out of his head, like as he went along. Like, I knew he didn't write this stuff down a lot of the time. He just got on the, got on a comedy role and he just went with it. Right. Which
definitely extremely creative. I don't know how many lines.
That's his wheelhouse. Yeah, that's his wheelhouse, just coming up with stuff off the dome and just spitting it out like rapid fire. He's incredible that way. There's one interview for this at like a promo spot where he's doing like a little interview, and the stuff he's coming up with is just really insane, way more comedic than anything that's in this film, but it is definitely like, wow, he's on fire. Hey, what a talent. He's extremely talented. He was doing all sorts of different voices and all had storylines for all of these characters he created off the cuff, and it was just genius. So I feel like in this movie, he is playing against his usual type, if you will.
Totally.
There's a few times when he does dip into the comedy, but it's all very dry comedy. It's more reserved.
Yeah, and that's how
Yeah.
android humor usually works.
Yeah, and it was appropriate. I think it was appropriate.
Well,
Um,
yeah, as an android, he had a certain logic to his humor, right? Because
mhm.
he was basically a logical entity. He was, built that way to think logically. So I
And
guess
so
that
that
would have.
also shows Robin's flexibility to that he isn't just
Oh, the
Yeah,
subtlety.
absolutely.
he's not just someone who's always eccentric and
He's not always
rapid.
on,
He
has to be
can
on.
dial
Yeah,
it down.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the subtlety of the performance I thought was quite beautiful. I mean, there were a lot of very touching moments in this film, because as an android that was, built not to feel, I mean, they were basically built not to have emotions, like we find that out, partway through the film. He was unique in that sense that he actually did seem to have an emotional center, and he actually had some kind of a humanity within him where he could actually learn and grow, which is one of the thought was one of the best, most interesting parts of the film, at least for me. Yeah, it was very, very, very interesting.
Yes, and I want to thank Gavin Blackburn for this super sticker.
Cool.
It's a spoiler alert. Yeah, that's true. So if you haven't seen Bicentennial Man, we are talking about that today.
Oh no, what's the sticker? I want to hear the spoiler.
Oh, let's see.
Because
Raking in
spoilers.
the cash there, Jill. Raking in the cash.
It's 24-year-old film. Spoilers. Actually,
Spoilers for a 24-year-old film directed by Christopher Columbus, screenplay by Nicholas Kazan, obviously based on the stories by Isaac Asimov, first the
Mhm.
novelette, The Bicentennial Man, and the novel, The Positronic Man, by Isaac Asimov and Robert Silverberg.
This does really play like an Asimov type of story, though. Like,
Mhm.
I've read some of his stuff, and he always came across to me as one of those really thoughtful authors that had a lot of deep thoughts in his stories about
Mhm.
humanity, and
Yeah.
it comes across in this film big time.
They really did seem to, and robotics was seemed to be his thing, or AI, artificial intelligence. And soon as I saw and by the way, I just recently saw it like last night, so it was my first time seeing it, and I definitely had the tissue box out for all the tears, and enjoyed it quite wonderfully. Um, as soon as I saw the three laws of robotics explained, and its big regalia, I was like, this is definitely got to have something to do with Asimov. And of course, when I did the research, I was like, oh yeah, there it is. There's the little novelette, and it was actually there was a few moments where I felt like the story had some I had some issues with the story, and that was maybe because it wasn't long enough, even though it's 2 hours. I may have wanted a little bit more. I was like, oh, I want to know more about this thing.
I,
And so,
Mhm.
go on ahead.
Yes, no, I agree with you completely. There's some points where I feel like some character depth would have really helped this story because it does a good job of making you care about them, but then you want to see some of them grow, like the daughter that isn't Little Miss, the other one. She stays the same
Oh
the
yeah,
whole time. So there's people who accept him and people who don't, and for the most part, that doesn't change.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, the older daughter.
So
Yeah, I found the older daughter was one of the weaker points of the film for me. Like, she was just
right.
basically annoying through the entire
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Well,
I
it's
thought.
hard not to
Even as a
compare it to
child, I was like,
Yeah, she was obnoxious. Like, as a child, as a teenager, like whatever, she was just obnoxious. I
ah,
couldn't stand her really.
well,
yeah, no,
that
me
was
too.
another bit of an issue is that the rules are played a little fast and loose with the Asimov rules. He's
Yeah,
not supposed to do anything that harms himself, and yet he jumps out of a window on the command of that little girl.
yeah. There were a lot of moments like that where and knowing the logical things that is probably commonplace within society, a robot should know. And so it was kind of interesting to see that there were too many moments where I felt there was a naivete when it should have been played a little bit differently. I don't know, like he should know. There's certain things he should know, like when you, if you jump out of a window, you will hurt yourself. And that was going against the laws. There's one other time when he actually says no, and that was also to do with the window. When he was asked to look
Oh
out of
yeah,
the window, he says
I
no.
did. I kind of liked that because it showed because he is experiencing emotions. He's becoming more and more sentient. He kind of steps away. He says he's going to follow the laws, but he through becoming more human, he's finding it more difficult to do that. And I think that's why. So he doesn't want to go to the window because now he has a fear of
Yes.
windows.
Yeah, which I adored. But it was also like, okay, so are we sticking to the laws of robotics or are we going away from that? It was kind of strange, like when the give and pull of when we were sticking to the rules and when we weren't. And if that was a rule he could break, were there others that he could break too?
Exactly. If he
Yeah,
could
yeah.
if he could break those rules, then he could have very easily become a villain if he wanted to. He
Yes,
never
yeah.
did become one.
Well,
Yeah.
that was one of my big fears watching the film as that progressed. I was thinking, oh no, they're not going to do the flip where he goes evil or something, are they? Like the evil robot trope. I was just
Yeah.
so afraid they were going to ruin the movie for me by having him like, go off and do
Yes.
something horrible, right?
So many movies do that.
Yeah.
And when I
Exactly.
started seeing those laws violated so easily, I thought the same thing. Even
Yeah,
though
I'm
I
totally worried.
My biggest complaint about the violation of the three laws of robotics is the very end. Spoilers for the very end is when Galatea does cause harm to a human by action.
She does.
And I was
Oh,
like,
yes.
that's the only one that really bothered me. Like when I was watching it, and I think you mentioned, Jill, it was like, why would he jump out the window? He knows he's going to hurt himself. And I was like, he kind of judged the
Yeah, you let that
distance.
one go, but
I let
the
that
last
one
one,
go. The last one I
even
can't.
though it was by request, it still broke the laws. And what's the point of the laws if
I cannot buy
I don't know.
action,
I
even
mean,
if ordered by a human, to cause harm to a human. It's
yeah.
almost like it's also one of those things where it's a get out of jail free card, because the Terminator at the end of Terminator 2 cannot self-terminate, but he puts himself in a position to be self-terminated. So it's like, I don't know. You can, and there have been discussions on the internet. It's now on computers that said that Galatea actually saved Portia from further suffering, and thusly she was not violating a law of robotics. But your mileage may vary.
Oh, and Jay mentioned something interesting there.
Which one?
He says it depends on how you define harm. And that's another thing, because robots are going to have to, I mean, even in the future, will have to know what harm is. Maybe if it's looked at a different way, if it's allowing someone to pass on naturally, but also in peace. If that's the,
Yeah,
I don't know, the lesser of harm.
Yeah, right. When you take
Kind
someone
of
to
tricky.
hospice, it's not considered harm. It's considered quality of life.
compassion.
Yeah.
So, but I do like, and when I say that I take umbrage with that ending, not really. Like I do, it's like, oh, there's a
Yeah.
law of robotic nitpick, but it's still a very touching scene.
Oh, I
Like,
cried. I had
yeah.
the tissues. It was just, it was really, really, there were so many moments where I did have those emotional cries, and I saw myself crying before I did it. I was like, wow, this is really touching. This is really, hitting a note with me. And I think that's the beauty of this movie, in a way, of being able to tell a story that's really, I would say, mostly about mortality, because in the entire journey that that he goes through, um, uh, he- uh, Andrew actually becomes uh, he becomes mortal in a way. He seeks out mortality instead of immortality, which he naturally has. So
Yes, he wants to become human so much that he's willing to give up that immortality for it.
yeah,
More human than human. That is
yeah.
our motto. Wait, no, wrong movie.
I think the thing is, he realizes by being immortal, all the people that, in the family that he had relationships with for many, many decades, as they pass away, as they leave one by one, he's going to eventually be alone. And he probably realizes that. And he's like, well, what
Mhm.
good is immortality when you don't have anyone to love, when you don't have any connections to
Oh,
anyone?
yeah. Hmm.
So I think,
Or you do, but it's always so brief, and you get to know them and love them, and then they
well,
leave.
maybe he'd eventually, find another family or whatever, but would it be the same? It's like, how many times can you rebuild your life, so to speak? I mean, I think there comes a
Ooh.
point when you just, I mean, maybe being mortal is a blessing in a way. I guess maybe that's not a way to look at it, but I guess, you get philosophical as you get older, you start to get philosophical about these things, and do start to question, what is the nature of existence really? I mean, what gives it meaning? You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm. And I found it to be very interesting that his growth process, his evolution, from right out of the box being
Literally.
sort of, yeah, and being so sort of like as a baby, almost like just discovering the world, and with set preset programming, of course, but also learning about how things work and learning about humanity, being fascinated by them, and just the things that he begins to learn. Like he first like appreciates music. That was one of the things I was like, oh wow, he's appreciating music. That's different and unusual. And then he begins to exhibit creativity and sentimentality towards the little girl, and just that whole process. It is um, very much like our lives. So like, this to me, it feels like a reflection of humanity because of how we are, babies, and we learn to walk, we learn to talk, we learn, we go through puberty, all sorts of things like that, until we kind of get to a place where we kind of know ourselves a little bit, and have matured to a point where we can start helping other people. It is him. We watched him grow up on screen and grow old and experience uh, death. So it was almost like a complete lifetime that we kind of shared in a way.
Yeah,
It's
that's true. And
yeah, I,
that's my favorite part of the movie is the beginning where he is just learning, and even though he's not given the personality chip, he has this compassion for this little spider, and he takes it outside just like we would. We might not use your hands, we might use a
yes.
jar. And
yeah, that was really that was one of oh, excuse me. That was one of the moments, a key moment, I think, in the film in his
Hmm.
development when he was, sweeping the cobwebs away with the broom, and he sees this little spider in the web, and instead of just sweeping it away like you think a robot would, because you think a robot has no emotions, I wouldn't care about a small life form, but instead, he does take it out and put it on the flower, and I thought, okay, there's something going on here. This is not just a robot anymore. This is a being that's actually becoming sentient and starting to actually have feelings about the
Hmm.
world around him. And I thought that was a lovely scene with the little spider.
I thought so too. And so it kind of, well, I'm watching Lost in Space on another channel, on Pop Culture Curator's channel, and kind of what happens to not to the great extent that happens in this movie, but the robot goes from completely just deadpan, just a computer, and then in the next episode he starts laughing and having emotions. It kind of just happens suddenly
Mm.
and organically, and that's how it happens here. But this is kind of a special movie because it's one of my husband's favorite movies. And
Oh,
he
Cool.
believes he posits that the reason why this accident occurs, the reason why he becomes sentient or sapient, is because he fell out of that window. And
You think so? Is that
Uh,
after the spider?
that's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. Is it before or after the spider? And that's why I'm
Ooh,
glad
I'll
I,
have
I
to
got the
watch.
slides here. So we have the slides and we'll be able to
That would
see
be
if the spider comes
hilarious.
first, second. It would be hilarious if that's the catalyst.
Well, I
see,
remember after he dropped out of the window, when he comes back and rings the doorbell and comes back in, he's obviously damaged because he's malfunctioning to a certain extent. And there's that line where he says something about self repair. He can repair himself, basically. I
mhm.
guess if the damage is not too severe, he's got a mechanism to self repair. So I'm thinking at that point when he did repaired himself, was that the point where something clicked and
Oh,
changed
maybe.
inside him and he started to feel emotion, perhaps? I mean, that was what I was kind of guessing.
It's strange. I
Ooh.
always on review, like the last time I saw this movie was when it came out on DVD. I rented it from Super A Video, and I remember seeing it, but I haven't visited it until yesterday, and I was looking for that sort of Johnny Five is alive moment, and I took it as when he plugged himself into the basement socket because everything was glowing and he started to doze off, kind of thing. But I don't want to say that there was a specific moment because that would be like regular operation for this particular android robot.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it is actually like just an anomaly in his neural pathways as the president, I guess, of Northam Robotics says. It's just
Yeah.
strange.
Yes. So we're not. I don't remember his name, so I just call him Dr. Maddox. So
Yeah,
yes, it's
that's
something
who
in
you
his
call
pathways that
Stephen
just.
Root in this movie.
Was he given a name? I don't remember.
I think he was, but I don't remember. I just know he's Jimmy James from News Radio.
That's a good line. Chickens do not have lips. That was a good one.
Now,
But
this young
I have
lady
to.
is
I have to
Jesse
think
Eisenberg's
for a
sister.
minute.
Oh,
For a minute,
really?
I have to. I have to thank Clobbering Times. He's become a
Oh, wow.
member of the channel.
Hey,
Thank you
Clobby.
so much,
Hi,
Clobby.
Bobby.
Yeah, hi, Clobby. Also, hello. I do. He has told me before that he does listen and lurk, and I'm just so glad to see him here. He's become a member at the series superstar level. Thank you.
Awesome.
And
Hey,
also,
Joe.
we have a few more people here too that have arrived. We have FKHC 2005 who says this is an Isaac Asimov story. Absolutely, it is. It's based off of a couple of stories by him. And Jay Goodwin's here. He said, I avoided this movie in disgust after seeing Disney advertising that made it look like yuck, wacky family comedy with Robin
Yes.
Williams in a robot suit.
That's why I never
I
watched it. I thought it
Yeah.
would be
oh,
silly.
Me too. Yeah.
I accidentally saw it on cable and loved it.
Nice.
Well, it's like I
Yeah.
never watched Princess Bride for decades because I thought, oh, it sounds like an awful, romantic comedy, chick flick to use the term. I thought it would be silly, and it turned out to be a fantastic movie. When I saw it, I loved it. So
Yeah, and Nat
sometimes,
G is here too.
Oh,
bad marketing
gee.
or a
Oh,
bad
hi.
title can ruin a film.
It really did. This thing
Yeah.
bombed in the box office. How badly did it bomb? It had a budget of 90 to 100 million with the box
Wow.
office of 87 million. And it sounds close to the budget, but you want to make like more than double to make up for
Yes.
the cost of the movie.
So
Mm.
typically you want You want your budget to be a third, because you also have to consider the marketing too. So
Well,
you have
and
to pay for the marketing and make up for the budget.
not
Yeah,
to
so
be
at least another 40 million it needed then.
not to be pedantic about the situation, because I do agree with you in modern filmmaking, you do have to make considerably more based on marketing. But this was also the era of, as I mentioned, DVD sales, physical media. And so you would be able to count on word of mouth or a grassroots like appreciation for it. It's got Chris Columbus and Robin Williams had worked together previously on Mrs. Doubtfire. And so there was an anticipation, but I think it did. I think that there is something to be attributed to the profitability of a movie from 1999 versus the profitability of a movie in today.
That's potentially true. But I also want to say hello to Rod Thunderheart.
Hey, Rod.
And
Hi, Rod.
Franco Walker says Robert A. Heinlein was also one of my favorites. Yeah, some really great science fiction authors. It's very important if you're making science fiction to read science fiction.
Yeah.
Jay Goodwin says he chose mortality in order to be recognized as human by humanity. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That it was his ultimate goal because he wanted people to see him as he saw himself.
Mhm.
Well, and
Rod
Jill,
Thunderheart. Hello, Rod. Yes.
hey, Rod. Well, and I was on the X because I'm an X man. And
Oh, gosh.
I made a poll, and I was wondering if Wall-E is the R2-D2 movie, and Bicentennial Man is the Lieutenant Commander Data movie. So far, Lieutenant
I was
Commander
thinking that
Data
too.
is in the
Okay.
lead, but friend of your channel, Nerdporeal Lifeform, had posted. He said Star Trek Picard season 1 ripped off Bicentennial Man with the android attempting to seek out death. And I was taken aback. I agreed with him because it is interesting with modern science fiction writers that they'll go back to things from their youth. And 20 years ago, 24 years ago, this is a movie from their youth. So they will tap on it, as opposed to this being made in 1999, where they want to tap something like Isaac Asimov and the idea of Bicentennial Man. It's a transition between which media influenced which generation of writers. And I thought it was an interesting point that was brought up by Nerdporeal.
That is a very good point. I try to push my memory of that series out of my mind, but I'm very glad that he was able to see that kind of thing because that's what happens in those series is they just pull from different sci-fis and smash them together.
Well, I think it's a long tradition.
But hello
go ahead,
to LDG. I want to say hello to LDG. And also
LDG, Spider-Man. Hey,
Spider-Man
Spidey.
is here. He said that he wants to do a bonfire stream today, so keep an eye out on his channel. And also, obviously, Retro Nerd Girl is doing a stream today pretty soon. And check her out too.
What's your stream on, Retro Nerd Girl?
I'm doing a series right now on feel-good movies, and today I'm going to have Lance from the Outcast Creative talk about a few movies, or we're actually going to talk about trilogies that he enjoys, and where it's a pre-recorded thing because he did not get a chance to join. He won't be able to join me today, but I'll be in the chat, and I'll also stop the video every once in a while to chime in.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a really smart thing to do is to do a I need to start doing some pre-recorded videos with people who want to be on my channel but kind of don't have the time to show up when I'm streaming. And so I should take a cue from you and do that. But that's cool.
Yeah.
Trilogies. I love trilogies. My favorite being Lord of the Rings. So
well, yeah, that's one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'll definitely check it out. And
Keith E. Hey, hi.
Yeah, he says, "Wow, that retro nerd girl really seems like she knows what she's talking about." Oh, okay.
It's so sweet.
He is. That's great. And oh, hello, Terry Age here. He says in the voice of Zoidberg, "Rurbra, rurbra."
And I would like to thank the Admiral Terrier Tiberius Mork for providing me with my android visage today. Thank you so much. You do excellent work, my
Oh,
brother.
wow. That's
Yes,
amazing. Yeah, I love it.
absolutely. Yeah, I do too. And oh, we're already transitioning to adulthood for Little Miss, and
Oh, yeah. That was a nice
these
transition.
slides are going by so pretty quick.
Yeah,
I did like it.
You went by a whole bunch of stuff already, Jill.
Oh, I did. Well, okay, so the things that I went by were
So, like, I
that.
wanted to mention,
Well, he
excuse me, earlier,
go
I
ahead.
wanted to mention mentioned you would like if they'd played chess or something, and there was a chess scene earlier in the film.
There was, and it was pretty neat because he
Very cool.
completely solved the game like in a few seconds, and
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
wonder what he's thinking about during that moment. I wouldn't mind knowing
Mhm.
what he thinks
Yeah.
of the game
It went by
that he
very
can
quickly, though.
solve really quick.
Well, and
Yeah.
it
But
comes
they're
back.
taking forever.
It comes back with Portia as well. In terms of that conversation that they have later, it's like, I feel like you're letting me win. And then the next move after she says that is checkmate. So he wasn't letting her win. He was setting up his attack in chess, which I thought was, and he's enjoying it. And it's just a game. It's just, there's not really competition. They're just enjoying themselves together. Also, shout out to Beth Davis. Great actress. Also, Spider-Man's mom from the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield.
And Beth Davis, that's Little Miss.
That is Little Miss.
Yeah. Okay, and Portia, obviously, she's also in one of my favorite childhood movies, Matilda.
Oh yeah.
And she
plays Matilda.
Miss Honey. So throughout the whole movie, I think of her as Miss Honey because a lot of the humans are not given names in this.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah,
I'm sure that's because that's how it is in the novel. And so that's how I think of her as Miss Honey.
Well, they talk about protagonists and main characters being in every scene of a movie. And I think this is one of those point of view films where you see it all through Andrew's perspective, essentially, which is great.
The only name we really get is Mr. Martin. Sir is Mr. Martin. And the only reason he gets a name is so that at the end of the movie, when Andrew realizes he's human and he goes for becoming human in the eyes of the world, he is referred to as Mr. Martin. He has taken who he sees as his father's name.
Yeah, but also Portia gets a name too, the granddaughter.
And Rupert, don't forget Rupert. God bless Oliver Platt. I loved him in Lake Placid. Anyway.
Yeah, and Jay Goodwin says, kudos to Sam Neill's character for having the ability and foresight to recognize that Andrew is different and potentially sapient.
Yes.
Yes, and when he does, he's given the option to undo it, and no, he stands up for him, and he doesn't see Andrew as an object the way that the mother does, the way that the older daughter does. And
but he still sees him as a machine too. Like he's torn between two. There are, I think, to make a character completely wonderful is sort of a mistake that's always often done in a lot of movies and stories in general. It's nice to have a character that is flawed, but also, some of the best stuff we've got. So he wants to encourage Andrew, gives him all the tools to help him, sets him up with his own bank account. That's really generous. I mean, other people would have, I think, taken the money for themselves. And
definitely.
He's really doing everything
he does need a little encouragement from his daughter to come to a decision.
Oh yeah. But he's done a lot to give Andrew a lot of freedom while he's working for him and while he's under his care, if you will. So
And
it's
it's an interesting I don't know. It's not hypocrisy, but it's an interesting dichotomy of views because he does believe in Andrew's uniqueness and he wants Andrew to explore that uniqueness so that he can become, as he says in the film, you become
yes,
what you are meant to be.
yeah,
And Andrew says, I don't know what I'm meant to be. And so he supports and nurtures that until the human quality of selfishness sort of intercedes,
yes,
and he feels like at that point Sam Neill's daughters, Mr. Martin's daughters, have been married off and he's going to miss them forever, but Andrew is always going to be there. And then when Little Miss says he wants to be free, he deserves to be free, and just the green-eyed monster of jealousy from Mr. Martin in that, oh, you want to leave me now too, which sort of informs what Andrew was feeling, is that, is everybody going to leave me? This won't do.
yeah,
And
Well, at first I was
it's
confused about that.
touching, but it's again, humans are not logical.
Well,
Look,
there's also
so yes,
one of the big fears of being a human is being, losing people and being
yeah.
alone. That's one
Hmm.
of the most profound fears I think a human being, that we feel, right? It's like, I
well, I
mean,
was wondering why he was pushing him away. Well,
well,
for wanting his freedom.
hmm,
And
You're
Well, I think that's definitely a human thing because if you ever had parents that were kind of
yes,
like do your own thing, but don't come home asking for a helping hand since
yes,
you don't want to listen to me.
I'm
So
so happy you said that
yeah.
because that's the conclusion I came to as well, is that okay, so if you're free now, you are essentially my son, and so I must let you go.
Mhm.
And so that's what he does. He pushes Andrew out of the nest.
But
Yeah.
one of the redeeming qualities of Mr. Martin is take your check back. I don't want your money. If you want to be free, you can be free. But if you truly want this, you're on your own. It's
Yeah.
not that he's cut off from finances. He's cut off from a purpose. And
Yeah.
Andrew pleads. He says, I'll still do everything. Like, I'm still your guy, but I want to feel like I'm doing it for myself as opposed to doing it because of my programming. And the harsh reality, or the reality, I don't know how harsh it is, well, if you want to find purpose with your freedom, you can't serve me.
Mhm.
It's an I think it's a good exploration of humanity from an observer's perspective through
Yeah.
Andrew.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I find really endearing about this is that this isn't a post-apocalyptic world. This
Yes.
isn't after a war or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
There is a level of comfort. There's a certain level of, life is enjoyed and people have their prejudices, but it never becomes violent. And I agree with you, PvP, is that I was watching this again after 24 years. I remember so many things from so many different AI movies and robot movies
right,
where
Mhm.
it's
right.
like he's going to take Little Miss and say, I'm going to put a positronic brain in you and you can live with me forever.
Yeah,
And
you're
it's
just
like, no,
waiting for the violence, right? Like for
I
Yeah,
something to snap and turn, right?
it
Yeah,
Yeah.
walks
waiting for
right
the
up
horror element.
yeah,
to the precipice, and then it says it turns around once Andrew understands.
yeah.
And
Well,
Actually though, it almost does become that because he creates these internal organs for himself that will also work for humans because he doesn't want the people he loves to die either. So he essentially did kind of want little Mrs. Granddaughter, Portia, she who wanted her to obtain all of these organs as they started to die off, but she refused that. She wanted to die naturally. And so that idea was actually touched upon, but in a more positive way than a straight up horror movie where she takes a little girl and replaces her
Well,
brain. Oh,
he
God.
did have help with the organs too. I mean, it wasn't like he created them himself. He had the other fellow that
Mhm.
basically did the work, right?
Rupert.
That knew, yeah, Rupert, yeah, that basically knew what how to accomplish that, which I thought was quite amazing. If you could build organs like that, it's like wow, I'm impressed,
Mhm.
But
Well, and
yeah,
it is a collaboration, and it's something that I'm glad that there are movies where the what do they call it? Household appliance is exploited for a time, almost like a Pinocchio thing where he goes to the island and it's like, oh, we're gonna use you. And but Andrew goes from Mr. Martin to a personal journey, and then he finds himself at Rupert, who is also accepting of the individuality and uniqueness of Andrew. He recognizes the special nature of this individual.
Rupert's a great character.
Oh,
I really
yeah.
enjoyed his character.
Yeah, he was. But on our slides, we're back to the company, and I wanted to go back to so the guy I called Maddox earlier, his name in the movie is Dennis Mansky. And I only want to mention him because he played a Klingon in Star Trek: The Next Generation Unification. His real name is Stephen Root, and in Star Trek he played Captain Kavada.
Some
He's the one.
Romulan beauty will lick the paint right off your ears.
Yeah, he's the one who gave Picard and Data a ride to Romulus.
Yes.
And he gave Picard a crappy, cramped quarters and didn't offer him any good food. And yeah, yeah, he said that stuff about Data too.
It's interesting that you bring that particular moment up as well, because there is the part where Picard he tries to sleep on the bunk, and Data is just standing there compiling in his research for what's going to happen on Romulus, and he's sitting there staring in the same way that Mrs. Martin is like, he's just gonna stand there and stare, huh? You can go.
While I'm eating dinner.
Yeah. Well, and so with Andrew preparing dinner, and this is something that I found a little not offensive, just curious, is that Andrew finds a creative outlet with his woodworking in terms of sculpting animals, which he does from his own imagination. So he says, I thought he got sort of an imprint from the initial glass what do you call it? Figurine, but
but he constructs it from memory rather than some kind of just the mathematics of it. Yeah, the schematics of it. Yeah.
But Mr. Martin says we want you to express yourself on a daily basis in something that is creative. And I was like, cooking is creative. He's making meals for you all the time.
So true.
Hey, that's a handsome devil.
By the way, the new face this was very uncanny valley. I was like, ooh, when he did that first smile to her, when she got married, and he smiles at her. I was like, oh boy.
Oh, right. Because he asks. So this is his middle step to becoming human is going from having more of a stoic kind of barely being able to express his emotions to having a broader range. And I guess that's just
the awkward phase.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, he went from being a toddler to being a teenager. So in the middle of the movie where he has those enhancements, that's his awkward teenage years.
That's one thing I really enjoyed about this film was the robotic suit that Robin Williams was wearing.
Oh,
I mean, it was so impressively done. I mean, I'm not sure who actually built that, Jill. I don't know if you had any time to research that, but I didn't get around to looking it up. But it was just so well designed. Like he could actually move in it, and I mean, there's those rare films when an actor is wearing essentially a mask, right? And they are still capable of, even with that mask over covering their face, they're still able to emote a full range of emotions and show, their thoughts and feelings with an expression. And
Mhm.
I thought it was remarkable how Robin Williams could actually communicate, his feelings, even with that, mask, covering him completely. It kind of
Yeah,
reminded me of the Deadpool films with Ryan Reynolds when he's wearing the mask like through 80% of the films or whatever, and he still is able to completely convey his thoughts and emotions even with a mask, completely concealing his face. So I was so impressed with the design of this robotic
Oh yeah,
suit.
it's really good.
right. And so you think about Metropolis having someone actually in the robot suit, and
Hmm.
this is the modern day recreation of that. Except here, the every he's able to move much more freely, and
Oh yeah.
it's pretty incredible thing that was created. If you want to learn more about how the robot costume from Bicentennial Man works and the in the just the fine details,
Intricacies.
yeah, the fine details of it. I don't know why I can't say intricacies today,
You
but
just did it. It was great.
right. But anyhow, Adam Savage worked on this movie, and I didn't realize it. I'm so
Wow,
glad I
that is
found
cool.
video. Check out the Adam Savage YouTube show if you're not subscribed to him. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Because he also
he's got a
rebuilds. He also
channel. Yeah.
rebuilds Captain Kirk's chair, which is really cool. But I didn't know he worked on this movie, and it's so hard to find some deep production stuff about it. So
Hmm.
I'm obviously not going to play the whole thing, so you can go check it out yourself. But I'll skip through a little bit.
Yeah. It looks so good.
Yeah, there's
And
just something about the design that just works. It just, as you say, Scotty, it looks so good.
well, and the
Mhm.
practical effects of it. What was it? Just I was watching Escape from LA yesterday, and there's so many green screen CGI things at this time where it you don't feel like you're watching anything. You feel like my dad would say I'm watching a cartoon. And when you can look on screen and feel like, yeah, that's tangible. That's something that is
Yeah.
actually there. Someone built it.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that aspect of filmmaking is how did they do that? I miss the idea of how did they do that? And when watching it last night, watching Robin Williams, a Juilliard trained actor, being and obviously very cognizant of his movements and performing as such, even the motion of his head, something that Brent Spiner did years before, but like just in moving like an android, but still conveying emotion. It's fascinating. And it's like, I wonder if that was Robin Williams. The answer, yeah, crazy. He had to shave his body because of all the body hair. I don't
Yeah,
know if you know, the man was as furry as a Sasquatch.
he
But
was. This is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that
Wow.
provides one of my favorite scenes in Mrs. Doubtfire, but we're not talking about that movie.
what is
Actually, I
it? The
have a
short, furry, and funny?
Uh, maybe that. No, the one on the bus.
Oh, yes. I like the European look.
I do have a
Really,
question though, as far as the practical effects go, like
can you hear this?
of the face here.
This
I
video.
remember the scenes where the eyebrows would move up and down. Now, was that added somehow? Was there like somebody remotely controlling those, or
There,
was that
there,
Robin Williams himself
it
moving them?
looked like, yeah, it looked like there was some remote control for the blinking, and that was going on. There was some also some the eyebrows that was, he did have some sort of animatronic people on the side. They would do this all the time.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I kind of
absolutely.
figured because I
Hmm.
was thinking, well, that couldn't be Robin in the suit causing those movements. It must have been somebody, off to the side, off
Hmm.
screen.
Hmm.
Now,
Well,
I had these crazy toolboxes that were on scissor lifts that like I could lift up to be at my height, that were made out of metal. So these were my toolboxes. And they came out and I found Robin in costume looking at the toolboxes and he said, "They told me these were yours. Tell me about these toolboxes." And we had this lovely, like 45-minute conversation where he told me about his grandfather was a tinkerer and that like these really were evocative to him. And I was like, well, you look at the tools. And I meanwhile grabbed his arm and I'm like, I want to look at the suit, because this suit is totally unique in film history in that it covers every inch of the actor's body. There's not a joint, there's not a underarm, there's not an inside of the elbow or back of the knee that isn't covered by hard plastic.
And rigid. All
Rigid, hard
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great suit. I mean, a huge amount of engineering went
on. And that goes through a bunch of iterations. And I think this is an early hard face where the mouth moves.
Yeah.
But it's like the idea is an industrial robot from like 25 years from now.
Right. Yeah. Look at the item that's been placed underneath them. The shoulder rings. I mean, I imagine these are real bearings.
They are real Kadon bearings.
Rotate.
They are expensive as hell.
Like a spacesuit.
All of these parts that look really like crazy shiny is actually, from what I remember, because I've actually talked to Steve Johnson about this suit, back painted PETG vacuum form plastic.
And what is PETG?
PETG is basically it's soda bottle plastic with one extra bit of chemistry going on.
So is it clear?
It's a clear plastic, and when you paint it on the back, you end up with this slightly dimensional finish, right? That is.
Oh, that's the problem with listening to this. I want to listen to all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
I'm going to skip a bit just
to keep dimensionality with vacuum forms that large. There's also, I mean, I want to take a look at the back here because they also did all of this translucent stuff.
Right. Look at that.
Where you can see pieces through it. And I mean, and this is sort of harking to a prognosticated industrial design, right? Like what would our service robots be like? This is magnet, right?
I believe it is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. And that's all dressing. Right?
That's all dressing.
Nothing
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
And probably never intended to be seen like this. It's a massive engineering project and probably a huge budget to accomplish.
I hope so.
Yeah.
They made a whole bunch of these. I mean, the film features Robin in this, and he is wearing the suit, from what I remember, for the entirety of the film.
You mean him, not him, stunt performer.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Robin Williams is, I mean,
he's doing it.
Yeah, he is actually wearing it.
Well, it's probably like C-3PO where you don't get the right mannerisms, you don't get the right body language unless it's the real guy in the suit, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure there's more detail on how this is done, and so I'm gonna stop it there. If you guys want to watch that later, I'm sure that'll be really interesting.
Can you post a link for that, Jill, please?
Yes, definitely. I really enjoy it. Adam Savage is so cool. Of course, I first learned about him watching Mythbusters.
Like I used to watch that all the time. Yeah, I used to watch Mythbusters every week. I love that show.
But yeah, he's a true nerd and really awesome guy.
By the way, I used to do woodworking and I used to have a bandsaw just like that. And that was always one of my great fears that I'd accidentally chop my thumb off or something. Oh boy, back in the day. Yeah.
Oh.
And
I winced when he lost his thumb. I was like, "Oh no!"
No.
I'm
Astar, a robot. I can put my arm back on, but you can't. So play
I remember that ad.
I do want to catch up with the chat. I got some chats here.
Here we go.
See, what do we have? And really, DJ Play Nice is here. I wanted to thank you so much for being here. How often does one get to type sapient? Nice one too, Jay Goodwin. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sadly, the character also retains vestiges of the benefit slave master. Yeah. That is barely touched upon, obviously, with the whole freedom message. And should he retain the profits of his own work? And so I am glad that they do decide that yes, he should be paid for the labor that he's done.
Well, and it's based
but
on
they don't get that deep into it.
It's based on an individual relationship between Mr. Martin and Andrew, which I find like he's
true.
It isn't until Andrew fights for his own freedom and individuality and humanity ultimately that it comes to the fore. No one is fighting for him. It's Andrew discovering what he can be as sort of intimated to him by Dr. Weir.
Exactly. I think what helps make that less about that is the fact that Mr. Martin is more of a father to him than, even though but the undercurrent of that is still there because he is also property. And when he doesn't become property anymore is where that theme is
Well,
definitely there.
I think Mr. Martin does think of him as basically, just a mechanism at first, right? He's just like
Mhm.
a mechanical servant, so to speak. So he doesn't actually even consider that, he might have, rights eventually, to be an individual. It doesn't even occur to him until further in the film, at least what
Mhm.
I thought when I watched it.
Yeah, I think he's really fascinated and maybe tickled that he has a very unique item at first, and he does treat Andrew with respect, and he does nurture his desires to learn new things, teaches him about things, guides him in many ways. But I think it's also like, oh, my robot's a lot different than those other ones. Look at what he can do. It's not like he's showing him off either, but also it's like a pride. It's like a personal pride that he has going on, and it's not a bad thing. I like the fact that there are no like truly bad villains in this. This is not one of those stories. It's
Good
just
point.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like challenges that show up, and Andrew has to figure them out,
Yeah.
like we all do. Like we all like have to figure out how to deal with grieving and how to figure out how to get the attention of somebody you like, and figure out what the next stage of your life is going to be like. He's seems to be doing that along the way, and
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
I think he treats him as a son, basically.
son,
Yeah,
yes.
he
Because
does.
there's that
Because
wonderful scene where he's giving him the facts of life talk, explaining human biology and reproduction to him, and that made me
that was
laugh.
good
It was
too.
so funny. I was laughing through that scene, and it was like he thinks of him as a son, like the
He's
son he
genuinely
Yes,
never
surprised.
had,
Yeah,
right?
right. He
yeah.
You
he
know,
gives he gives him the birds and bees talk. Yes,
it was
definitely.
beautiful. Yeah, that
And
made me
yeah,
laugh. That
he
was so
definitely
funny.
sees him as something more because
But
I hadn't considered that. There could have been a very evil twist where this was
yes,
and where he would have been like, "Oh, well, I got this super cool robot. I'm gonna exploit him for his talents." And
yeah,
Uh,
that never happened. I'm so glad that didn't.
well, I just
yeah.
loved Andrew's reaction to the birds and the bees talk. It was hilarious. Like he's like, "What? What?" He was so shocked hearing all this stuff. Right? I thought it was
It's like
really funny.
it's like how many of them die?
Yeah, that was a great line. Oh, I laughed. Oh,
I
that was
feel bad
priceless.
for them.
Most of the time, all of them die.
It
He
makes
didn't
you
tell me about
realize
that.
how lucky we are to be here, though, doesn't it, guys? Like it's like, wow, we're like that, 1 in a million.
hmm
We
Oh,
made it.
what is that Dr. McCoy quote? It is hypothesized that in all the galaxy or in all the universe there are 100 million planets or galaxies, and there are 100 million planets. But on each one of them, there is only one of us. Never take away from the one named Jim Kirk. Like our individuality is what defines us, and our
Doesn't he say,
mortality.
"Don't destroy the one named Kirk" or something like
Yes,
that? Isn't
I
that
that's
was
the
doing it
exactly.
off the top of my head. I'm
I
so
mean, it was
sorry.
beautiful.
I always
I
thought
was
that
gonna
was
let it go.
one of McCoy's most profound speeches in the whole series. Really, I love that scene.
Yeah,
But I'm a
Balance
big
of
McCoy
Terror,
fan.
one of my favorites. So of course,
I
awesome.
always love McCoy because I relate to his passion and his emotion. Like I always thought that was so cool how it totally balanced, Spock's logic. Beautiful, and then of course Kirk's in the middle of the trio, right? And kind of like, hey guys, come on, you got to
You're
work
right.
together.
The brain, the heart, and the soul.
Yeah, it's
They
beautiful.
all you need them all.
Yeah, that's why I love TOS. Always love TOS.
Definitely. Let's see. I do have some chats here. Let's see what's going on. Oh, he's talking about Adam Savage. How Adam Savage works on what does he work on? Savage makes a good .308 rifles as well. Wonder if he's related.
What is it there? Adam Savage is such a huge Blade Runner fan. And
Definitely.
I think he's got a couple of the blasters from the first Blade Runner. He's huge on it, and so no, very well. Like, and I think recently he did a tour of a warehouse for movie props, and I think the channel is called Props to History, and it's just a warehouse of where they used to make fake products and background magazines, and they ended up finding newspapers and ID cards and all these incredible things. And I definitely it's an interesting walk down pop culture lane.
Yeah, definitely. Adam Savage is pretty great, and I did send you the link you asked for.
And
Yeah,
I threw it in the chat.
I just
All right.
thanked you in the private chat, Jill.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I did put it in the chat, but I used your extension. I hope you don't mind me usurping the phone.
No, that's okay. I granted you that ability, and so it is okay. Johnny 5 from Short Circuit has those flaps that mimic eyebrows for a reason, says Jake
True.
Owens. Yeah, definitely. That's another one of my favorites in terms of a robot becoming more human-like, but he never changes biologically, obviously, like this movie. But it doesn't take away from what he becomes. Yeah, well, and Canadian Spider-Man says Johnny 5 is a freaking legend. Yeah, he's one hell of a robot.
Johnny 5, yeah.
Johnny 5 is alive.
I have a love-hate situation with Short Circuit 2. The love it is because it's in Toronto. If you would like to see a movie that is exclusively made in Toronto, I'm sure that there are many, but that one was one of the first ones, and I was like, I know that place. And then also, I don't like that Ali Sheedy isn't in it, and also I don't like how they like bust up Johnny 5 in the third act of it. It really makes me sad.
Oh, yeah, but that's his struggle, and he gets through it, and he saves the day.
He does.
And yeah, no, it's not cool. It's not cool that they do that for sure. So, Jay Goodwin says all the characters were morally complex and believable, with the exception of the older sister. Yeah, she's the one I have the most problems with. She should have had some kind of a little bit of character development. She just stays the same the whole time. Brogu says hello, Brogu. Great to see you.
Hey, Brogu.
All right, so there we go. And so he has.
And I think the actor who plays the lawyer is John Michael Higgins.
Oh, Lloyd. Wait, Lloyd's son. Wait a minute.
No,
I'm confused.
Lloyd. Yeah,
Lloyd is the son.
But the first lawyer that they go to open up the
oh, that other lawyer.
Yes,
the other lawyer, not the family.
And
that's the sister. What is she wearing?
He's in a bunch of stuff. Oh, it's the future. It's the not too distant future. Everyone has slightly askew fashion choices because it's kind of the future, and all the music is from the 1950s and 40s.
Yes, I noticed that.
If you're going to show the future, you got to have some. You got to have some standards.
At the end of the movie, we find out that it is 2005 that Andrew was quote unquote turned on. He was born on that day. So they believed that in 2005 we would wear banana dresses.
Now you mentioned Retro Nerd Girl that there are no real bad guys in this film. I would say agreed, except there are rivals in both husbands of Little Miss and Portia. Anytime Little Miss or Portia are having romantic liaisons, there is extended conflict because we are and it's interesting that this scene pops up is that even Mr. Martin gets emotional at the fact of the feeling of loss, even though his daughters are still there. He just feels that they have left him. And so the connection with Portia. How did you guys feel about when Portia ends up getting married to that one guy who was on a Star Trek special on UPN?
Well, she doesn't get married to him. She gets
No.
engaged.
Yes.
It's Charles. Yeah, right.
The guy with the pointy chin and the teeth that could open a can.
It can sink the Titanic, which is fun when you get to the end of the movie and you hear Celine Dion playing.
Do you get any sense of Andrew overstepping his bounds when it comes to those relationships?
Well, I think he's experiencing jealousy, and that's really like the whole point of those guys are just to show us how he's starting to tap into that feeling, that emotional, that human emotion of jealousy, which shouldn't really matter to a robot, right? Even a sentient one, but he's experiencing this human emotion. And those guys aren't doing anything to him necessarily. He's the one that's being really aggressive against them. Saying,
yeah, it's interesting that he does feel jealousy, though, because I mean, he is a robot. He's not biological. I mean, I think of the big reason humans, feel jealousy so intensely at times is because, we are biological, and we can have affection, love, lust, the whole gamut of emotions towards another person. And when a third party steps in and we fear we're going to lose that person, that's when the jealousy kicks in. But I think it's biologically based, right? So it's interesting that Andrew actually begins to feel jealous.
Mm-hmm. Jay Goodwin says, I'm not sure it's romantic jealousy, but fear of loss and trying to keep things as they are, which you guys just said too.
That's a good point. Great. Actually, that's a very good point.
Yeah. Awesome. And Canadian Spider-Man says, hey chat, since you're here anyway, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, since they really help Jill grow this channel. There's no obligation or cost, but it sure does help. Thanks. Canadian Spider-Man is so sweet.
I just put in my like.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and this is the kind of thing I always forget to mention. So thank you, Spidey, for reminding us. And well, I did have a little bit of a problem with the fact that the fiancés usually aren't fighting. He doesn't fight back or anything, or there's nothing, like he just disappears.
Yeah.
It's like engagement over. There was no closure there. He's gone.
Even with Frank, even with Little Miss's husband, it's like, that's why you divorced him. And he's just out of the picture. Like, talk about disposable male characters, just there to give you children.
Yeah, that was his function, and that's all he did.
But one thing I noticed, because I guess his development was, he was just starting to like really tap into those feelings for that particular portion. He hadn't even gotten, I think his robotics wasn't as advanced as later on when he started to express physical, like really intense jealousy. The first time around, the only thing he could do was just support, and you could see that he was trying to be supportive. He wanted to show emotions for the wedding. He wanted to wear a suit. He wanted to be there for Little Miss, but he didn't know how to express how he was actually feeling. And maybe he didn't even have those actual feelings at that point. But afterwards with Portia, there was definitely, he had tinkered with himself enough to have more of a biological response, as well as be also like, okay, now this is your chance. She even says to him, you've got to do something different. She knew that he liked her, and she knew that he was upset by the fact that she was engaged. And so there was something that she was pushing in him, and he was also like, okay, well, maybe I should be. He readdressed the situation differently.
But Yeah, and you described that so very well. You're describing the third part of the movie where he essentially that's his adulthood. He's become
Yeah,
an adult.
yeah. He's become an adult, exactly. I think the first time he's just figuring it out. Uh, he's just understanding what love may be, or in that romantic sense. But he knows he has feelings for this family. But I don't think
Yeah,
it was very clear to him how he felt about Little Miss,
like
and I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
mind the romance, but it is a little strange because she looks exactly like the little girl that he kind of helped
Oh,
raise. So it's a little bit like marrying your
It's gross.
babysitter.
Yeah,
wait,
it's
wait.
gross.
This is kind of like which one's the werewolf in Twilight? Is that Jacob?
Yes,
Oh God,
Jacob
yes.
is the werewolf. Yes.
So when Jacob implants
Oh.
himself on Bella's
Ew. Yes.
child,
Yes.
same thing. Same thing.
Gross. That's worse. No, it's even worse. That's even worse. It's super, super gross because he actually does get with exactly her.
The grand. Yeah.
So, so at least this is separated a little, but
You can hear
it's
all about it next week when Jill and I review the entirety of the Twilight saga.
I am gonna go jump out of a window.
You don't have to. You don't have to. It was
Don't
just
do that,
jokes.
Jill.
It was just
Oh,
jokes.
okay, what a relief.
Hey, we need you back next Friday. Do not jump out of a window, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, this is quite a scene. This one
I
here.
do not like it. I don't know. I don't really care for that franchise. Sorry.
No, I know.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's
Okay. I know. Canadian Spider-Man says that's not a hat from the future. So the kid at the beach. That's Japan had hats and visors with see-through windows in them for decades. And so he thinks, yeah, that is pretty funny. I do appreciate that bit of cultural information from Canadian Spider-Man, but that happens a lot in sci-fi in terms of let's find something alien, so we take something foreign, especially with food and things like that.
Food
Brogu says, "I like food cubes."
I don't know.
No.
I do
Brogu
have to
says,
step
"I
away
liked
for a
your
moment. I
channel.
apologize.
Thank you for your content. You're awesome." Anti-derivative Jill. Well, you're awesome, Brogu. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the stream. I wish adults had maturity and wisdom, but aside from this chat, it might be rare. Oh no. And Jacob says that Spidey might have kids, and Spidey's saying no. Well, if you don't know, I don't know. You think that, Spidey, but I don't really agree. You're a very hardworking guy and very nurturing and very helpful to your community. So I disagree that you would not be wise enough for kids. But where are we in the movie? I wanted to see. Oh, this is the part where he goes out and tries to find out more about to see if there are any other robots like him. He wants to feel a connection. He wants to feel a connection with someone because he's lonely. He's starting to feel lonely because of course his family's grown up and he's moving into the adult phase of his life.
Well, to me, this is where the movie totally shifts. It was like the first hour and the second hour were almost like two different movies in a way to me
Yes.
when I watched it last night, and it totally shifts from the family orientation to, his journey now to search for others like himself,
Hmm.
which was quite a big shift in the film for me.
Yeah, I did enjoy that, that he was going, he's created this purpose for himself, and sort of like, I want to meet other people, I want to seek out other people like myself. He's seeking companionship, and it is really, there's a point in your life, especially when you're young, you want to socialize, you want to meet other people like you want to reach, uh, seek out like-minded individuals, sort of like what we're doing here, where people are gathering together and talking to each other and sharing ideas. So I think with him, he's he's starved for that. He's sort of isolated in this world where he's the only special thing in his own world. He's surrounded by humans that either look at him as a marvel or maybe part of the family, but a lot of people don't even recognize him or care about him. So he's looking for someone else or something else to connect to. And I found it very interesting that when he does see other robots that are just displaying robotic behavior, how he's so disappointed in them. Like when he finds another robot that's coming up, how he's just very disappointed that she's not sentient like he is.
Oh yeah, right.
Seems
He
to
so
be
very much
angry
wanted
about
to
it.
believe in it.
Yeah. And also, I did crave the idea of seeing what two robots with sentience, how they would respond to each other, what they could teach each other, what they could learn, that kind of thing.
Yes, I was excited for this moment too. I thought that that's what was happening, and then
Yeah,
it turns into a Pratt kind of situation.
Yeah, this was pretty funny actually. I could totally understand his disappointment. He's like, "Hey, maybe I found somebody I can relate to," and then like, "Nope, she's just
It's
ditzy."
just it's artificial intelligence, and so it can
yeah,
mimic
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
humanity, but it isn't it
She definitely
isn't
wasn't on the
sapience
same
that
level he was on.
he
That's
has.
for sure.
Yeah, I felt so
Definitely.
bad for him at that point because he was like, "Oh, I want somebody else like me," and then it just fell apart. You could see
But
the disappointment in his face. Even it was just so sad.
But
Yeah.
like you said, it's good that that was another opportunity for a villain to come in, because like with Data,
Ooh.
he does find his brother, and that's the way that he gets to find another android who is like him, but with emotions, and he of course turns out to be evil. So they didn't go that way here with that either.
Well,
And
and there's been a lot of praise for Robin Williams being in the suit, but the actress who plays Galatea, I forget her name. You might remember her from Independence Day. She's the lady who is the co-worker of Vivica Fox in the Gentleman's Club, who stands on top of one of the buildings in Los Angeles before it gets blown up, who welcomes the aliens. I don't know her name, but she does a fantastic job just in terms of her movements in the costume. And then she does show up in android form or more humanoid or human-like form at the very end as the nurse who, breaks that one law.
her name is Galatea's name is Kirsten Warren.
She's amazing.
She's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. And so that really is her in the suit. So that really works. He's emancipated and wants to find those who aren't. Oh, that's another idea there. Is he wanted to
I
see
love
if
that scene. He's like, ah!
oh.
When he sees the true face, it's like, oh
Oh
my
yeah.
goodness. That was hilarious. I love
Yeah, and
that.
so this is the transition from being in the robot suit. So he's going from robot to android at this
Mhm.
point in the movie.
And he finally gets to get out of the suit, finally.
This reminds me of Disaster, where Riker is like, "You want me to take your head off?" Yes, sir. There's so many. I've been maintaining since we found out that this was a movie that we were going to watch, is that there are two kinds of movies, or there are two movies in my mind. There's the Star Wars adaptation called WALL-E, which is R2-D2 the movie, and this is Data the movie. And so there are certain things that I just can't help but see in terms of those parallels when it comes to Andrew and Data.
Yeah, absolutely. Extreme. Well, Retro Nerd Girl just made a beautiful description of what's happening with him now in terms of growing and understanding and searching for his humanity. And that's exactly what Data does. And he wants to be human because that's his that's how he connects with his crew. And that's how he grew up. He was found by Starfleet officers, and so that's why he became one, because he sees them as family.
Hmm.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Works. And that's the whole thing of the movie, is he wants to stay with the same family forever.
That's funny.
Yeah, you're so right. He wants to stay with the same family forever. Because he learns about, I guess, the story of heaven, where after you die, you're supposedly go, you can meet up with your family, and so he gets that sort of like, oh, that's a beautiful story.
By the way, I was
Oh.
laughing about the dog. I wasn't laughing about
Oh,
you guys' comments.
No, I didn't think so. I didn't
Well,
think
the
so.
dog
Oh.
was hilarious. Let's face it.
Oh, right. Yeah, the dog, that's the extent of his talents. He was,
Yes,
for those of
that-
you listening to this
that
as a
made me laugh.
podcast and not able to view it, the dog was licking his genitals.
Oh my gosh. Well, I wasn't going to say it, but you did, Jill. So thank you.
Well, I
Oh.
had to, just in case there are people out there who cannot look at their screens. I had to describe it.
Oh boy.
And speaking of, not really speaking of anything in particular, but hello to the Comic Relief Crusader. Hey, great to see you
Ahoy.
here today.
I Comic Relief Crusader.
Yeah, he'll also be streaming today, so go check him out too if you want. And Brogu says, I have to leave now because I have tickets for the new Godzilla movie. Enjoy the rest of your stream, Jill, and enjoy your weekend. This is the way. Wow,
Very
that's
good.
really cool.
I didn't
I
even
hope you
know there was a
enjoyed.
Godzilla movie out.
Yeah, Godzilla -1. I'm very curious about it.
Huh.
So
Wow.
enjoy, Brogu. I hope it lives up.
Hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, you're gonna go see that?
If I can, but I might not be able to. But yeah, whenever I get a chance to see it, I think I'm gonna watch that.
Well, and Retro
Definitely.
Nerd Girl, on a complete aside, did you see Shin Godzilla?
No, I didn't. Actually, I'm gonna be seeing the original 1954 Godzilla soon.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm gonna start my Godzilla phase soon. We're gonna watch all the movies and see all
Oh
the
wow,
things.
is that what you do when you get into something? You get deep into it and just watch all the things?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. I did that for like Sharknado, and it was wonderful. I had such a
gosh.
good time.
It
It was a riot. So I'm looking forward to to expanding my horizons.
See, that's how I felt about Twilight.
That's why I love your channel.
It was schlock, but I had to see how it ended.
Oh yeah, Twilight is good fun. Silly but fun.
Yeah.
Sharknado
was
I
a
was feeling so
documentary.
happy. Scotty R37, why did you have to go and mention
Oh, I won't bring it up again.
You can talk about whatever you like, but just know that talking about it too much will get me a bit. But I don't know.
You'll get
something will
feisty.
happen.
I understand.
Where am I here? This is just I mean,
well, and this is something that is referenced later on when it comes to the I forget the name of the leader of the World Congress chairman, I think.
I call her Chief.
And well,
she plays Chief in her the actor's name is Lynn Thigpen, and she in this movie she plays the president of the World Congress.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I knew her as the chief from Where in
the World Is.
Oh yeah, Carmen San Diego.
Oh, I love this scene. This scene they filmed in San Francisco. That's the there was like a exposition, like I think in the 20s or 30s, and I walked into that building that we just saw. If you want to go back a little bit, Jill, if you might. Sure. I actually walked around inside that building and walked all around there, and it was really cool.
What was the name of the building? Because I know that they
Oh,
filmed
it's in San
in.
Francisco. There was like a world exposition many decades ago, like in the 20s or 30s or something. And I
Okay.
actually I walked around in that building. It's just a big empty space, basically. It's just a shell, of maybe the glory it once was during the exposition taking place. But it was fascinating to walk around that area because, it's very, very cool to walk around inside that, kind of architecture. And
Mhm.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. When I saw that, I thought, hey, that's so cool. I actually walked around there where Robin Williams walked. It's like, wow, it was a very
Yeah.
You
cool
were
feeling.
there.
Yeah,
W-
it was like
Well,
in the movie for a second.
well, and from the filming of that, apparently, because in San Francisco, I forget the name of the building, but you were there, so
Oh yeah, I wish I
but
could remember.
they charged between $5,000 to $20,000 per day to film there. The lights caused the sprinkler system to go off, and so there was water damage. Like the production of it was. Oh, it seems like they took advantage, but it does look great and it does look timeless, and or at least it looks like a near future that isn't necessarily blown up or irradiated.
Mm.
Mm.
That's another feature I liked about this movie is that it does offer us a kind of a not quite a utopia, but a futuristic world that's livable. That seems like progress keeps happening, but it's not, hasn't been devastated by anything, and it's a positive outlook in the future.
Mhm.
Right, we're positive, we're steadily progressing slowly but surely over the course of 200 years, and I think that is a rare kind of thing.
I
Well,
just
and
looked.
Definitely, it is rare. I agree.
I
with
just looked.
the
I just looked up. That exposition took place in 1915. It was called the Panama Pacific International Exposition.
ooh,
And that building was actually called the Palace of Fine Arts. It was actually rebuilt in the 1960s and then seismically retrofitted after damage from 1989's earthquake. So quite a history that structure had.
and just also contributing to the architecture because this movie was made in Galatea, don't bust his sensitive equipment. But when they
Yeah,
show the matte
yeah,
paintings
Andrew reprogrammed her.
of the city, yeah, he does. City skylines, because it was made in 1999, there is a super futuristic World Trade Center, Twin Towers, that goes up. Oh, so many more. There's a bracket between them in terms of the evolution, and so this
Yeah.
does come from a time in the mid to late 90s, whether it be, I don't know, the perspective of people in North America at the time in terms of the future is so bright you got to wear shades. Like there was a sense of unification around the world, and before those towers sort of, everybody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think a
And
lot of hope collapsed and when those towers did.
Yeah.
but I do know that there are plans to rebuild. So
And then finally
yeah,
we'll be able to watch that Simpsons episode again. Ugh, crab juice.
well, no, it
Yeah.
would still always be a thing. I visited New York when I was a kid before, and so many of my pictures just happened to have those towers there in the background. So it was an
Mm.
indelible, not
I
just a
rem-
landmark, obviously, but also it was an extreme tragedy.
I remember the
When
day
that
it happened. I watched it on the TV live, and it was just incredibly
I
horrible.
I think everybody who was old enough remembers that
Oh, it was
day.
horrific. It was
Oh, I'm
horrific,
sorry.
Jill.
What happened?
Uh,
No,
well,
I don't mean to bring it up as a downer or
mhm,
as a lightning rod for anything. I just want I enjoy watching these movies when they are sort of a yearbook. They hold some of the ideas or philosophy or tone, or I don't know, the general feeling. And it was
mhm.
like mid to late 90s. There was a sort of looking to the future with your arm outstretched, and it was gonna be great, and then reality, joined you.
Well,
And
it was like that in the 60s and 70s too, Scotty. There was, I mean, there was always trouble in the world, of course. There was always, wars and whatnot happening, somewhere. But overall, I remember when I was young, like there was a great spirit of optimism in the air. It was almost tangible. You could almost feel it, right? It was like, it felt like a society that was, marching ahead, that was, you had some kind of structure and order to it, because we didn't have all the mass media that we have now that, divides people so much, right? Because everybody's off on their own little, in their own little world sometimes.
That's why I think it's more important for there to be optimistic media now than
I wish.
before
Yeah.
when
I
everybody else
agree.
is optimistic. The
I
more
so much agree.
pessimistic reality is, the more optimism we need in movies and TV to
Yes.
encourage us to make things better.
Well,
Yeah,
and Canadian Spider-Man
100%.
says to me, "You
Yes.
said it, me. The world's population were getting along. The powers that be couldn't have that. I missed the days when this was all conspiracy theories. No one cared if MJ was white or black." Well, yeah. If you watch it, I don't know. This is the first thing that pops to my head when I see that Spidey is, did anyone care that Jim West was Will Smith in the Wild Wild West movie at the time?
I
No.
just didn't like the movie. I just thought it was
Yeah, the movie
dumb.
sucked, but no one cared that Will Smith was being Jim West.
It wasn't a thing back
race
then.
or gender swap or anything like that.
Nobody was talking about the swapping thing back then,
Yeah.
right, Scotty? You're right. It's true.
It was just like, is it a good movie? Yes or no. Done. Move on.
I just never liked Will Smith as an actor personally. It had nothing to do with his race. I just didn't like him as an actor, basically, right? And he was so different than Jim West in the TV show, which I love because it's such a cool show.
For sure.
But it just wasn't the same thing. I mean, that's what it is. Like when they did the Avengers movie, I'm not talking the smart, the superheroes. I'm talking the 1960s British TV show with Steed and Emma.
Mm-hmm.
When they redid the movie, it was horrible. I just watched and it's like, Uma Thurman as Emma Peel. Are you kidding me?
But I love that just because of the schlock.
Oh well, Sean Connery in a teddy bear suit. Talk about schlock. Yeah,
I've said it
You're
before.
right.
I'll say it again. I'm a pretend furry. So Sean Connery in a teddy bear suit, it's my jam.
So wait, what did you want to add, Retro Nerd Girl? I could tell.
Oh no, I was agreeing. Well, yeah, both of those films, they're not classically or traditionally loved, but I do like the mess that they are. So I had fun with them.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of them, so I can't really judge. But
you're not missing a whole lot.
You're not missing much, Jill.
But they're oddities, and they're just sort of fun for the sake of entertainment's sake.
Yeah.
I must say there was one good scene in the Avengers movie that when they were being chased down the road by, I think it was like giant mechanical mosquitoes or something. That was weird. I really enjoyed that scene. That was great, but the rest of the movie, I don't know, was kind of flat for me.
Hail to Edge of Time.
Oh,
hello to Edge of Time.
Hello.
Edge of Time is the only person I hail.
Scotty's got a bad case of the walking nostalgias. I hope it's not catching.
Well, I do have a cream for that.
As the years go by, you get more and more case of the walking nostalgia.
You know what's the weirdest thing is my son's learned about the word nostalgia, and so he's like, I'm building my nostalgia right now. So this is very important for me to see this.
That's cool.
That's so cute.
Your son is so wise.
That's a very smart comment, Jill. I'm impressed, boy. Because
I am too.
Your boy's not that old, is he?
No, he's 10.
Yeah, that's very wise for a 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And Gavin Blackburn says the 70s was for the era of cynical movies. High Plains Drifter, Soylent Green, The Parallax View, Mad Max, etc. And those are very good. I haven't seen.
That's true.
High Plains Drifter.
I don't know if cynical. I don't know if I would agree with cynical.
Well, I don't know.
But more dystopian in general.
More adult.
Well, adult.
More
I would
mature.
agree.
Well, Mad Max is definitely
Yeah.
the story. Oh, and Comic Relief Crusaders got to go. Have a good time. Be the
Cheers.
Comic Relief Crusader. Have a wonderful Friday. Yeah, I didn't know the details. Oh.
I really like 70s films. Actually, Scotty, there was really a lot of great movies made in that decade. Like
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of small budget films too. Like that just would never happen anymore. But there'd be like $5 million films that were absolutely fantastic. Back in the 70s.
Well, in the modern cinematic climate, as people say, there's nothing good coming out. I just say there's 100 years of cinema before now that you can check out, and you'll find something great. And yeah, I've latched on to what is it? The new one. I've seen Chinatown, but I want to see
Chinatown's a
Chinatown
classic.
again.
Oh, wow.
That movie. Oh, that's really dark.
There's
It's a very dark movie.
But I also
really good.
I love the schlock. I love the entertainment that is just there so that you eat popcorn and chug your soda. And that's what I dig too. Like I like to be entertained. I like my thoughts to be provoked. But
sometimes you want to stimulate your brain and sometimes you just want to turn it off, right, Scotty?
Yeah. Agreed. Come on. Fun is fun, Millhouse.
Oh, fun. Yeah, fun. That's what makes life worthwhile, is having some fun. Like, because there's enough
Yeah, and I hope everybody's having fun here today.
Well,
Jake Goodwin says, no, the 1970s straight up sucked. Oil crises, wars, terrible economic.
Well, I did say there was trouble. I mean, I didn't say it was perfect. I mean, no decade's perfect. Of course, all those things were happening then, but there was a lot of good things happening too.
Yeah, but Star Wars, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Logan's Run. I'm sure that there are other movies that are better.
And the cool TV shows. I mean, the music. I mean, I think the 70s was the greatest decade for music, for me anyway, because I was a teenager in those days. And the bands back then, I mean, good Lord, the bands were amazing.
Well,
they were really good.
But also, this is the part of the movie that is kind of a bit like A Measure of Man. And this is the main thing that is probably in the Asimov story. This definitely feels like it was definitely from that novel.
Well, Measure of Man must have borrowed from that story heavily, I'm guessing.
I wonder. I don't know. I've never asked Melinda Snodgrass whether or not she did that. Or not that I talked to Melinda Snodgrass. But that would be a good question to ask her. Thank you.
Scotty.
Yeah, right. Because I know one of the main inspirations is that she's a lawyer herself, so she decided to do something law related, and it really worked out for her because she wrote other episodes of Star Trek that don't measure up to that one. That is her masterpiece. Her perfect episode.
Well, at least she had one masterpiece anyway. I mean. I've never created a masterpiece yet. So
now,
right? Exactly.
I hate to interject with my typical blue humor, but we are getting to a situation like this is Andrew and Portia. They are a couple, and the central nervous system, the biological central nervous system that has been developed by Andrew, has been installed. Everything except his positronic brain. Like basically, he's just upgraded everything. Functional. Oh, he's fully functional. Thank you for going there. Now, I understand the nature of the movie, but there is a weird post-coital cuddle that happens when after, like, it all becomes ambiguous as to whether or not there is the coitus. And I wasn't expecting a sex scene. I didn't want anything so graphic. I just was expecting a little bit more romance. How do you guys feel about the chemistry between the characters of Andrew and Portia?
I think it's one of the weakest parts for me. First of all, I was really skeeved out at the fact that he's dating. This is the relationship. I understand how it came about. The sad part of him saying, "Look, I don't have any family, but looks like you're it." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But all this other
I was
stuff,
a bit too. I agree.
Yeah, all this other stuff is just like, ew, this doesn't feel right to me. But what as far as that in particular, they could have left it out. I
Yeah,
didn't
they
need
could
it.
have left it out. It wasn't in as far as I can tell, it wasn't in that original Asimov story from the
Yeah,
basic plot that I
I don't
saw
think
from it.
Asimov was
You didn't need
writing
it.
too much romance,
You could have
actually,
had
was he?
a slightly shorter movie, and it had it a little tighter. And
Well, the
yeah, I
thing
think
is,
it didn't need the romance, but there are some people who like it.
was he
But I agree
completely?
completely with your perspective. But PvP, I do want to let you talk, but Retro Nerd Girl's got to go. She's got
Oh,
to
yeah.
go do her thing,
I'll be quiet.
her awesome thing on her
Oh
channel.
yeah.
And so I want to give you the chance to have a few moments before your show, so you're not you're coming up at the start of it. So I want to give you a chance to head out now. Do you want to give us any of your closing thoughts about this movie?
Oh, I do love it. I love the fact that it is an anti-Terminator film,
Yeah.
which is robots aren't all evil trying to take over the world. That if they were sentient, maybe they wouldn't even be interested in something like that. They would be interested in have other interests. Maybe if we got a sense of other robots, is probably my only desire was to see what else was possible for the robots. If there were ones that were more interested in exploration with music or space travel or whatever it was that got them juiced up, whatever it was that entertained them for. Or took their fancy. I also yeah, and
Yeah,
there
as a sci-fi fan, you know all these tropes already. We're like, we're invested in this. We want to see more, and I totally get where you're coming from
yes.
there.
Yes, I do want to see more. And I did not mind the romance. I just thought it would be nice with somebody else. Her relationship to him looking like the young lady who was initially a little girl when he first meets her is just kind of disturbing.
Agreed.
Uh,
Agreed.
and not
Kind of.
looks like, but looks exactly like, and is related
Right.
to.
And
It's
they
like,
do so
ugh.
much incredible old makeup work. You think they could have done maybe make her nose a little different, make her cheeks or something, do something with her chin. I don't know, just
Yeah,
make her look a little
or
different.
just have a different actress play the part. At least
Of
it
course,
wouldn't.
that would be
Yeah,
even better. A
that would
different
be, yeah.
actress would have been awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, just some little tweaks and things. But I did love the fact that it is a good, sort of like a positive story, and it made me cry at the end. Of course, it has the sentimentality. It's a feel good film, and yeah, I'm really glad that you chose this one to talk about, and I was able to join you for it.
Welcome. I am so grateful that you did join us, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed all of your insights on this movie. Like you said, we're here to exchange ideas, and yours are phenomenal. So please tell us about your channel and what you're doing in a little bit.
Well, my channel is I basically do a lot of retro stuff. I guess the reviews are the big thing on my channel. I do a lot of reviews of movies, usually older ones, and I pick movies that I absolutely love. The other factors that I do a lot of live streams. I do live streams Wednesdays, a modern take in the mornings of modern things, and then on Fridays I do a discussion of something retro, and then on Saturdays I do a watch party. So I have a nice rotation of topics to talk about on my channel, and that's Retro Nerd Girl on YouTube.
Oh yes, obviously I should have your link ready and get that.
Oh,
And
that's
and yeah, I wanted to give you time to prepare for your own show, so I wanted to let you go for that.
Yes, thank you. It was so great chatting with PvP and Scotty as well. It was a lot of fun being on your channel. And you guys, I am definitely going to come back and see the rest. What else did you guys say about this awesome movie?
Oh,
Nice.
thank
Yeah,
you so
it
much.
was
And
it
when
was
we're done
really
here,
it was really great to meet you, Retro Girl. It was such fun. I mean, I've seen you in other
Pleasure.
streams, but we've never actually been on a panel together and had the chance to chat and discuss a great film like this. And so yeah, it was really, really nice to meet you.
Oh, same. Likewise.
Oh, wait, that's not it.
You guys enjoy the
Sorry.
rest of your day. I appreciate
You too.
giving me the time.
Yeah, you too.
Enjoy the feel good trilogies.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Enjoy your live stream when I'm done watching this one. I mean, finishing reviewing this one.
Yeah, we're still in the middle of recording, Jill.
Yes. I can't wait to see the rest of it. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cheers.
see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
That really is a great avatar you got there, Scotty.
Well, and again, Terry,
it's definitely you.
Yeah.
More. It's definitely you.
Oh yeah, definitely worth looking at for a little bit there. It is good work. Terry is awesome.
All you need is a cigarette hanging out of the corner of your mouth, and
yes, this is true. Oh no, at Edge of Time for life, the universe, and everything. Do I look a bit like Marvin the Paranoid Android right here? No,
but I mean that would be an interesting development for a robot to have gotten to be presented that sad. But I'm glad we didn't have to deal with that in this movie.
You and me both, sister.
By the way, I just wanted to mention that final death scene, which we went by while we were
I wanted to get
you
to
and Retro Nerd Girl were chatting.
Mhm.
I thought that was a very
left the bridge.
Ooh, breaking in the
Scotty
coin
left
there,
the
Jill.
bridge. Yes. Well, I wanted to thank Edge of Time. Thank you so much, Edge of Time, for life, the universe, and everything. I've got to get some clips of the BBC version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, that's quite
to be
good.
able to play. Oh, hello. Oh, excuse me. I'll be back in just a second.
Okie dokie.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. But yes, I love Hitchhikers, and thank you for the $4.20 super chat. Definitely the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42. So thank you, Edge of Time, for that one.
I did like the BBC TV. That was the TV series, right? You're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is.
That was great.
And it was
That was a
wonderful.
great
I
fun
enjoyed
show. I
it so
remember.
much.
Yeah, I watched it. Back in the day. When I guess that was what 70s or something. I think.
Mhm.
And it was really cool. Like it was a lot of fun. I still remember what was the guy with the two heads? I'm trying to remember his character's name now. Oh gosh.
I don't know. I just think of Alice in Wonderland, but
I always thought
it's not Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
I always
great. I am great.
Yeah, thank you, Edge of Time.
I always thought it was kind of clumsy the way they did it, but I guess
I know who you're talking now. Talking about now the guy who actually owns the starship, the one with the improbability drive. So
love it. Improbability drive. That's brilliant,
thank you,
is it not?
Frankel Walker, Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Zaphod Beetlebrox. Yes.
Don't feel bad for getting that name because it's such a
that is quite a name, I gotta say. Don't try and say that fast 3 times.
That movie. I've only ever read the first novel, but it's such a great mini series on the BBC.
I did love the fake head though. The fake head looked totally fake, but that's kind of what made it fun.
Well, that's the budget for you.
Yeah, but it was fun. Like it was good. It was good fake head. It was like a good kind of schlocky, thing, right?
Mhm.
Which made the series. Well,
Definitely.
I mean, the series is so crazy anyway. It didn't detract at all. So.
Mhm. And so that movie also deals with, hey, what if an android suddenly becomes sapient, and you've got to deal with that android while it's still performing all of the services that you're expecting it to, but it does it with an attitude, and definitely a different kind of attitude than is portrayed by Robin Williams in Bicentennial Man.
I think I'm kind of glad I don't have an android, walking around here, because it could be problematic actually when I think about it, Jill.
Well, yeah, just like they actually did show that what happens if you have a robot who has a personality that doesn't want to.
I guess if
I don't really want to do this.
It would depend if it had an on-off switch, and if you could, if you could program it by yourself. If you didn't need to take it into the factory to to be reprogrammed. If you could, do your own modifications, then I guess it would be okay because you could just, make it like talk
Yeah, as
about
long as it
sci-fi
doesn't
or
actually
something.
become that's fine as long as it doesn't actually become sapient.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but
As long as
yeah,
it's still just artificial intelligence.
I wanted to mention the death scene at the end of the movie,
Sure.
when Robin Williams, they finally acknowledge he's become human, but he passes away, like 10 or 15 seconds before he hears it. I thought that was very touching. That last little bit of the film. That was really like, get the Kleenex out and wipe your eyes kind of moment, right? Because it was like, oh, he's worked so hard to achieve this, and then he dies before he gets to have someone acknowledge his humanity. And I thought that was a really kind of heartbreaking moment in the film for me.
Yeah, definitely, and that is the tears part of the movie for sure. But he does get the recognition, even though he doesn't get to see it occur. But
Mm,
but yes.
yeah. I was really good. The first hour I was really good. I was holding back the tears and some of the sad stuff, and it was mostly I was having a lot of laughter in the first half because a lot of it was very funny. But I gotta say, in the second half of the film, we kind of got sad in a lot of places, and I was like, "Oh crap,
Well,
I'm
Andrew's
gonna start crying." I know I will.
Andrew struggles to obtain what we all take for granted, and he achieves it. He does.
I'm an old softie though when it comes. It's like Casablanca. If I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but that movie gets
Yeah.
me every time. Every time that airport scene at the end, it's like, oh man, it's
Well,
just so
I had
heart wrenching.
I didn't watch it until recently, and probably sometime last year. So the only way I had experienced Casablanca before were all the parodies, specifically Looney Tunes and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I
Well,
knew about the line, "This could be the start of a beautiful
full
friendship."
friendship. Yeah. Well, I
So
just think it's a great film. I mean, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed it as well, Jill. But
I did.
it's such a
And like I said, though, because I grew up knowing all of the references, I'd heard
right.
all the different quotes and lines well before I ever actually saw the movie. I saw the episode of Red Dwarf that is a kind of a Casablanca of Red Dwarf,
Oh
and
gosh, I forget
before I
that one
saw the
now.
movie.
Hmm.
No, it's there. It's pretty good.
Wow. So did that spoil it? Do you think for you at all, Jill, or was it
It
still
just
okay?
meant I knew all the major plot points, and so yeah, I
Uh,
still did
okay.
enjoy it. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Well, I do
Yeah,
know
it's
Scotty wants to talk about that someday, so we'll think about that.
uh, it's just a great film, though. It's just something I love about those old movies where they take a pretty basic storyline, and it's just the writing is so good and the acting is so good that you can have pretty basic plot through the movie. It's not overly complex, and yet the actors and the characters add a layer of complexity into the story, and they just sort of build on that, and it sort of gets some momentum going after a while, the film. And that's what I love about some of those old films. They're not too overly complicated, but they're complicated enough to be interesting.
Definitely. Lots of good things in that movie and
Mm.
references to historical happenings.
Yes. Yeah. And that I think that was actually filmed. Was that filmed during the war years, I believe?
Oh, well, my knowledge of Casablanca. Where is Scotty? This is his favorite movie, and we are just
Really?
but off the cuff talking about this movie that is his favorite movie, and he is not here to
Oh, so
talk
should
about
we
it.
not talk about it anymore?
No, 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 no. It's just that I'm not a expert on Casablanca, so I've got to see when it was 1942.
It was filmed during the war. Wow. Right in the middle of the war, basically.
Yeah, and it was also filmed and set. So the setting is World War II for sure, and
It was
definitely
basically, when you think about it, Jill,
more
it
of
was
a
kind of a,
romance and even more of a romance in this movie.
but it was kind of a propaganda film too, right? When you think about it, because just think, audiences seeing this in the 40s, actually during the war itself, in the war years. I mean, they must have obviously clued into the propaganda elements of the film, right? I mean, because the Germans weren't exactly presented as nice guys, were they?
Yeah, that makes sense. They're not. They weren't.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I can see how the studio definitely wanted to put out something to support the war effort, so to speak, and it makes sense, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a good movie.
Because I can't imagine being alive at that time and living through that. It must have been really quite scary. Hey, Scotty.
Oh,
Hello.
oh, and the Canadian Spider-Man just subscribed to Retro Nerd Girl and noticed that she has almost 7,000 subscribers. Nice. Yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
think
she is incredible. I've been subscribed to her for a long time, but I was usually just watching her short videos.
I think I subbed her a
And
while
she
back.
started doing live streams, and they're just as incredible as her short videos. And I like the production on her shorter review videos are really good.
Cool.
Well, and as over on the Phantasmagorium, which I am so lucky to be a part of, one of the things that we tried to do is talk about stuff that we really enjoy and want to spread, much like this movie, like Bicentennial Man, something that I haven't seen in a long time. And there are nice movies, emotional movies, sort of fun. It may not be the hardest of science fiction, but it raises questions and ideas. And I like that about Retro Nerd Girl's channel, is that she is sort of cultivating. Have you seen this? You should. It's not bad. You should check it out. There's an entertainment value to it. And I just think that she's so positive and fun to hang out and talk with that I really enjoy it. Much like your channel, Jill.
Yeah, that I definitely see that, and that we have some things in common, and that's why I really love her channel too. Gavin says the Red Dwarf episode is Camille, and I was
okay.
PvP was talking about Casablanca. I'm not sure how I got onto Casablanca, but then I was like, wait,
I'm not sure either, actually, to be honest.
And I was talking about how I had experienced Casablanca,
Well, I
all
got
the parodies and the references from other movies and cartoons and TV shows, like Red Dwarf has an episode called Camille. Thank you, Gavin Blackburn, for giving us that name.
Yeah, thanks, Gavin. I got onto my horse name tangent and I rode off like I often do, Jill.
Yeah, you did. This one was slightly relevant, so I enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
I'm
glad I'm not totally irrelevant.
I don't remember what the connection was, but there was something.
There was something that triggered my memory, yeah.
Casablanca is easily in my top 2 favorite movies of all time.
It's a great movie, no doubt. I wouldn't put
it is.
Oh, I love that's trouble. Damn, I could probably take 100 films, if I thought about it and made a list, and I could probably take 100 films and they'd all want to be in my top 10 kind of thing, right? Which of course is impossible, but I think you kind of know what I mean there, Scotty, right?
Yeah, I have 100 movies in my top 10.
Oh,
I have so many movies I love.
It was the middle of the war for the Canadians, but not the Americans. They took a little longer to convince. Oh
yeah. They had those Japanese folks kind of help them make a decision. I think.
Well, yeah, that was the turning point. Yes, that's absolutely right. PvP.
Yeah, I actually took the Pearl Harbor tour when I was in Hawaii, Jill, and I took the boat out to the Arizona and walked out to the Arizona Memorial. It was quite impressive, really, to see it.
Oh wait, yeah. So it was also Citizen Kane too, and Red Dwarf always made references to classic films, so that was good. That's hilarious.
Red Dwarf is a great show
because of some kind of soup, some kind of soup that was supposed to be cold.
I always thought Rimmer was such a great name.
No.
Well, Vichy Suave is from it's a cold soup, or gazpacho.
Gazpacho, that's it. Gazpacho. That's how he was responsible for killing everyone.
But that's also like that's why I like this movie, is that I guess you could call it saccharine to a certain extent, just in terms of there is a lot of positivity. There are the conflicts within the film are they're not world ending. They are based around the evolution and the learning of Andrew. And I really appreciate it. There are a couple of things that go off and it's like, well, I didn't like this because it reminded me of that. I found it a little too Nerf. The corners
I
were a
don't
little
find
too
it
rounded.
I don't think so, because I like movies that don't have to tell us the world's about to end, or there's not some grand stakes where we
It
have
was
to save
refreshing.
everybody. It's more of this is more of how life works, life
Oh, it's a
lessons,
relief to finally see a
what it means to
sci-fi
be
film
human.
where the world wasn't going to end, because so many of the times
Or
it is like that, right?
or a bigger sci-fi movie. The whole galaxy is in danger. Like,
Oh,
you don't always
exactly.
need those giant stakes.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
space
or-
laser.
yeah.
Or big
I
villain.
that's why I never watched it before, though, guys, is I thought it would be just like, it might be just like Pablum, like, because there was something about the poster that always turned me off. It just looked, I don't know, it just looked kind of, I don't know, silly in my mind it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I just got a feeling about this film, but it's like you just get a superficial idea in your head of what a movie will be, and you never actually get around to watching it. And then when you
The
finally do,
failure
you're
of the
like, hey, this
marketing.
is actually really good.
Well,
Yeah, the
and
marketing really failed this movie for sure.
Well, it's like,
PvP,
as I
you
say, it's like
know,
Princess Bride. I thought I would hate it
Wait
because
a
it
second,
sounded like a.
PvP. Scott has got a question.
Sorry.
well, and I want to praise you in terms of what you said in at the very top of the chat when you said you had watched it and you found this film profound, and
It was really good. Yeah.
and when we were speaking backstage briefly just before the broadcast, and you said that it was emotional, and well, this is something that makes you think, it makes you feel it, you care about the loss of the characters, you care about the struggle that Andrew is going through from activation to discontinuation. There's an incredible like there is something about the science fiction combined with the emotional in a family drama that it makes my heart swell. And you can look at it cynically, and I did too. As I was watching it, I was like, I'm not sure about that rule, I'm not sure about how this would work. But ultimately, you do have to sort of set those things aside and understand what the movie is about. And it's a science fiction movie that is dealing with the nature of mortality, the nature of loss, the nature of interpersonal relationships. How do you deal with one thing when a new variable is introduced? And you get that through the prism of Andrew's experience. And I think that it is very heartfelt. I think it is very heartwarming. And you do get the intellectualization that comes with the 3 laws of robotics. But you also, it's a fun time. It's something you can watch with your family. You don't necessarily have to worry about it too much, except for when Oliver Platt says, I can give you a penis.
Yeah, but those references, everything is mild enough where if you're watching the movie with your kid, you can have those conversations. Anyway, I need to step away for just a minute, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there, Scotty. It was like, basically, to me, watching the film, it was like, well, this is basically a film at its center. It's about the nature of existence as a self-aware being, right? Is what it's about. Whether you're an android or a human, it was all centered about what's the nature of existence. What's the struggle that existence entails? Because being conscious is a struggle. It is a constant battle against the forces against you that want to wear you down, and ultimately end you. Which that ending comes to everything, to all of us. So I did think it was profound on that level.
And when you can recognize the human existence, the human experience, and even Rupert does say in the movie, he says, welcome to the human, when Andrew is given the blood transfusion, which is ultimately going to degrade his systems and he is going to perish. And Andrew says, well, so how long do I have? And Rupert he says, well, I don't know. It could be 20, 30 years. And Andrew says, well, that's a little vague, Chief. And Rupert looks at him and says, yeah, we don't know when we're going to go. Welcome to the human condition.
Exactly.
And
I
it's
mean,
one of
we could go tomorrow, right? You know.
But it's one of those things.
Like,
exactly.
You could have a heart attack. You could get run over by a bus. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could happen, right? You know,
Absolutely.
It's part of existence, right?
It is. I don't want to preach about it, but I do want to. It is something that when you are in the midst of this thing we call life, it's
right.
like you don't know. No one knows how they will end.
That's what kind of makes life fun, though, in a way that makes it kind of interesting, but it also makes it terrifying, of course, as well. That's why you got to have a sense of humor, because that kind of makes it all bearable, doesn't it, Scotty?
Absolutely. And you know what? And I've been criticized before. I do make far too many jokes. I do make light of too many things, and I bring up too many topics that may not be palatable to others, but I'm here to make me laugh. And if other people want to join me, please do.
Well, I don't know why I'm thinking of Red Dwarf so much today, but
I find our discussions interesting, Scotty.
Me too,
quote by Rimmer where he says, here, wait, where's this quote?
I love that name, Rimmer. There's something rude, very rude about that name.
What he says about life is, I think, he says, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, apart from pain, and maybe humiliation, and obviously death, and failure. But apart from
taxes.
but apart from fear, pain, and humiliation, failure, and the unknown, and death, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Who's with me?
I'm sure glad Roosevelt didn't put that in his actual speech.
Well, and I don't want to cast a cloud or a shadow across the film, but there is something that also sort of coincides with what I was saying about 90s movies, is that most of the people in 90s movies, they had unlimited resources. They had all of the money in the world. And that's how it works out for Andrew. He ends up, they even make a point of it with the president of Northam Robotics. And he says it's going to be incredibly expensive to get the upgrades that you desire. And so Andrew shows him his bank account and says that's more, or no, it's his month-long earnings. And Stephen Root says that's more than I make in a year. And there is a certain, there's an economic situation that happens where it's like, well, as long as you have enough money to counter the realities of life, again, another very 90s mindset.
It's true, though. Money does make things a lot easier, because it's pretty tough when you're short on it, I'll tell you.
I don't care too much for money, because money can't buy me love.
Well, and Andrew said he wanted to pull his own weight, and he does more than that. And he ends up making more than the person who said he was just a toaster, essentially.
Dadman!
Hey, Dadman.
Dadman walking. Hi, great to see you.
I was on Dadman's Fortnite stream for a little while yesterday, and it was quite fun to watch for a little while last night.
Nice.
And Franco Walker says that the quote that I quoted was from Rimmer's dying words at the captain's table. Yes, I think your mention of the soup made me think of it.
Rimmer's hilarious.
Please subscribe, share, and hit the like, and select the live chat, says Franco Walker.
I still think Crichton's my favorite character in Red Dwarf, though.
Yeah, maybe that is why I keep thinking about it. That I'm trying to do. Well, he does have an episode where he turns human, doesn't he?
I think so. It's a robotic connection, basically. I think that's triggered your memory cells there, Jill.
Yeah, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. Because I love androids, robots, and all of those things. And it's such an expansive topic in and of itself.
Oh,
we could have 75 more live streams about them.
Actually, yeah, that would be a good live stream to do. Have the topic of robotics and robots in fiction, you know, in film and whatnot in TV. That could be a lot of fun, actually.
Well, and I think
I'll put something together sometime.
Yeah, jot that note down there, Jill, and maybe one of these weeks.
And I think that this is, they talk about movies that are released at the same time with the same themes. So you get a deep impact in an Armageddon.
Right.
But Bicentennial Man and AI, artificial intelligence, came out at the same time. And AI is much more of a, I don't want to say dour, but I want to say pragmatic end of a long life. Like
I saw AI in the theater when it came out, and it is more dour, definitely, Scotty.
Yes, definitely the child in that movie is sapient and wants to become human and is just searching for that blue fairy and essentially never really finds her. He finds her, but it's not really anybody. It's a little strange. And then the aliens show up.
What I really enjoyed about the film, though, that was the last project Stanley Kubrick was working on when he was towards the end of his life, right? Which is why he couldn't actually complete it himself and direct it. So I think he did contact Steven Spielberg, and they worked out a deal where, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to pass this torch on to you, and you can finish this film for me because I won't be here, obviously. And I think, you know, I like the Kubrick aspects of the film, but when it gets to the last part of the film, it seems to become very Spielberg-like, if that makes any sense, which I kind of dislike the last part of the film somewhat because it just didn't feel true to Kubrick's vision, if that makes any sense.
It makes complete sense. And it is, you are a music aficionado. And
I love music.
And I think that AI is what happens when Steven Spielberg makes a cover song of a Kubrick movie.
Good analogy. Yes. Yes, that's the way it felt. It was like a lot of it was Kubrick up to a certain point, and then it was like, bam, it's all Spielberg in the last part of the film, which wasn't horrific. I didn't totally hate it, but it was certainly like a disappointment. I'll put it that way.
Still touching, but it was a jarring shift, definitely.
Very.
Yeah.
Exactly, Jill. Yes.
Good also, point. Robin Williams' performance in AI. He does play the advocate in, or he plays the computer, like Wikipedia, who explains what happens. Like Robin Williams is in AI, is what I'm trying to say badly.
Gosh, it's been so long since I've seen it. I've forgotten that point.
It would be an interesting movie to discuss.
Yeah, I think so too. There are a few other themes that it touches on of sci-fi nature in there, and definitely falls in line with the themes in this movie, but even more expansive because there's more than one sentient robot in the movie that we get to interact with.
Yeah, AI is very similar to this film,
it's a little more.
It does make you think about existence. The quality of existence.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Well, and when it comes to AI, even then, in terms of the era that it was made, putting children in peril, even though they're not children, it's like with I forget the name of Haley Joel Osment's character's name in AI, where it is like a boy robot. He will never grow up, and there are many Pinocchio. What do you call it?
References?
Yeah, references. Parallels.
Okay.
And it's interesting to hear, and you find out what the curse of immortality is. And that happens in this one, I think, is very deftly in Bicentennial Man, very deftly addressed.
And this is it is. And in this case, he gets to solve that curse by becoming human in a way.
Through his own decisions and journey.
Yeah,
And effort.
sacrificing his
And just a lot of
immortality
effort.
for his humanity.
Well, and people, one of the things about mortality and our limited time on Earth is that no one wants to die alone. And I do appreciate that Andrew and Portia don't.
Yeah, exactly. And we all want what we can't have, the opposite of what we have.
Yes, because I'm going to die alone.
Yeah, that's one of my
But
fears,
that's not.
actually.
Don't say that. That.
Because I live alone, so
You're
yeah, it's a
gonna-
scary
well,
thought.
No, it's a
Some
Don
people say
Draper
everybody-
thing.
Some people say everybody does. Oh,
It's a Don Draper thing. You live alone,
okay.
or you're born alone, you die alone, and
Yeah.
the world just puts a bunch of
Well,
rules on you in the middle.
If I had a nice family around me, it wouldn't feel like that, I guess. But I
Okay,
don't
when
have
I
a
know
nice
that's a
family.
reference, it helps.
Well,
What was that?
you got to keep
what
up.
was that? Some
I haven't
film where
seen Mad Men.
there was some film where a character said immortality is largely made up of boredom. I remember that line, but I can't remember the damn film.
Yeah,
because that was a
What was
profound line. I love that line, but I can't remember the damn film it was in.
I think it's a Star Trek episode.
Could have been.
Deadman Walking says, "Hope you're doing well today, Jill." And so does Mr. MH. Thank you so much. I am doing well. I hope you guys are doing well too. And I hope you
Mr.
have a
MH?
wonderful Friday. There's so much fun stuff going on today.
Oh, Friday's always wonderful because it's the first day of the weekend for me.
Well, in the immortal words of the philosopher Rebecca Black, Friday, you got to get down on Friday.
Does anyone think having a YouTube channel is a thankless task? Well, it depends. I don't know. I feel appreciated by the people who decide to take the time out to listen to me, and so I don't think it's thankless at all. No, I'm glad you guys are here today, and the panel and the chat and everybody's coming through. Even if you're lurking or watching this on the replay, I appreciate everybody who wants to come and share ideas here.
Yeah, I don't think it's thankless at all. Like your channel is so much fun.
Right. Okay. But he wasn't talking about the chat or the panel. He was talking about the algorithm. Yeah, the algorithm. Yeah. No, the algorithm doesn't show as much love as the actual audience does. You got that right. Okay. Now I see your point. Yeah. No. YouTube doesn't always seem to be grateful for for the content that we provide their platform. Not all the time. Mr. M says, "Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, that's fine."
I'm grateful to be able to, for the longest time in the world, I've been wanting to have conversations about Bicentennial Man and AI, and I want to talk about science fiction concepts, and I want to talk about movies that I haven't seen before. I want to celebrate the entertainment that makes me happy, and we're doing that. Me and Kat over on the Phantasmagorium, and we're talking about the new season of Fargo. I had never seen Fargo before, so we watched the first season and the movie, and we have such a great time. And I'm just glad that we can, and especially also with you, Jill, and with you, PvP, is I would be talking about this stuff if nobody was watching. I would be enjoying it. I'm just glad that other people are taking some pleasure from it, and I hope that it builds a certain level of community, and or at least, hey, I like that thing too. I want to talk about that. So, like, when was the last time?
If you don't like the thing, why don't you like the thing? I want to hear.
Yeah, why don't you like about
what you?
What are you angry at Bicentennial Man about? Show me on the doll where Bicentennial Man touched you. But no, I like it is absolutely like these are getting together and talking about stuff. And if you want to talk about it, and if you have passionate opinions, pro or again, then it's just fun to hang out and talk to friends.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Christian Fandom Geek says that he hated Matrix 4. Me too. It didn't need to be made. I wish that it wasn't made, and I wish I could get back the time that I spent watching it.
Never saw it. Don't need it.
Oh my god. You are lucky man.
No,
Sprinkle Walker,
I'm wise.
you're wise. Yeah, you're wise. Mr. MH says, well, I, for one, will always be thankful for Jill. She is awesome and amazing. Much love and respect to her. Thank you so much, Mr. MH. Same to you. And I'm just so glad that you're here today to hang out. And I hope you have a really, really wonderful Friday.
Kronos.
And welcome to Kronos. What a wonderful
Kronos.
surprise. And we might have finished talking about the movie, but I did have a 5-minute background kind of little behind the scenes thing that I'm going to skip through a little bit. I won't play it verbatim perfectly like I did before to make sure that I don't take away from the original creation.
Can I ask you something before you start that?
Yes.
Do you want to watch Wall-E?
Wall-E. I don't know. I love Wall-E, but do I have a ton to say about it? It is a little more dystopian. Yeah, it's a good movie.
And it's a Disney movie, so that they'll strike your channel for
Oh,
showing
they'll strike
screen
you
time.
down. Yeah.
That'll be fun. Yeah, sure. Let's talk.
Let's fight.
I don't know.
Let's fight Disney.
Jill rises to the challenge.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Again. Yeah, there's some fun topics in there. We got obesity because of space travel and loss of bone density. I kind of already want to talk about it.
Well,
I actually haven't
research.
seen Wall-E, so I'd be willing to give it a go. I hear it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Well, I'll talk about anything with the robot, Scotty, so you could convince me.
That's why you hang out with me.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm a robot.
Oh, but you're more of a bending unit.
A bending unit? Hey.
Yeah,
Jill.
Bender.
Okay,
So,
maybe
Bender Rodriguez.
Maybe you should have rephrased that, Jill. A bending unit. That sounds a bit rude.
Well, I guess that's part of the
bending
joke.
unit, get over here.
PvP, you can bite my shiny metal ass.
Oh, that was too funny.
But I think I said before, you're more of a
phrase.
combination of Bender and Fry, not just Bender, because you're not as much of an asshole as Bender.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate that. Also, if Gorilla's Random Thoughts is listening, there's your swear for the day. Buy a lot.
I think Bender's brilliant. A brilliant name, by the way, because it totally sums the character up. It sums up his purpose to exist, as in to bend things, and also sums up his character as going on an endless bender.
Cronus says, I did like this movie. All right. I'm so glad. Also, Canadian Spider-Man says, Happy Friday, everyone. Please don't hesitate to hit the like button for the stream. It really helps.
Oh, I hit it a while back, so no worries there.
Spidey has a wrench, right?
Jill nearly read out my film recommendation. Oh, wait. Yeah, Spidey has a wrench.
Cool. Ranko, what was your recommendation?
Robert and Frank is a great CGI movie.
Oh, yeah.
About a robot and an android. Let me check that one. I'll check it out. And
it is a really good one. It's got Frank Langella, and it is about an elderly gentleman who befriends or is given a robot, and he is reluctant to engage. And then, as the story progresses, they bond and develop a friendship. It is a good movie.
That sounds really cool, actually.
It's quieter. It's more of a drama, but it is delightful. I found it delightful.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a good drama with sci-fi elements, right? I mean, I can enjoy that just as much as hardcore sci-fi. So yeah.
Well, we just watched one.
Well, and Mr. MH.
Yeah, but it was this movie was a little tougher than you know.
It's
it was pretty serious sci-fi in and at its core, though. Really,
Robot and Frank is more of a microcosm as opposed to the quest of the robot. But it's still touching. It's a very touching. I thought so. It's an interesting question as to what companionship is.
So basically, just two characters in the film, Scotty?
No, there's more. There's more.
There's more. Okay.
Mr. MH says the Animatrix is highly recommended. If you love the Matrix, seriously awesome grouping of 9 stories from the Matrix universe, particularly the Matrix origin story. Yes, the second Renaissance part 1 and 2 is everything you need to know about why humanity sucks and the robots were actually trying to help until they realized humanity was going to, scuttle.
Destroy. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
burnt the sky, the humans.
Yeah, they did. So they were going to destroy themselves. So the robot stepped in, and yeah, that's a really cool anime. I agree. It was very good. Thank you very much, Mr. MH. But he also says about this movie. PvP?
Oh, you want me to read it? I remember watching Bicentennial Man in the cinema when it came out, and I remember it received bad reviews, but those people must have been watching something else, as its themes are deep and heavy. I agree. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
There's emotional weight to this story, or at least I think there is.
I think there is too. I agree, Scotty.
For sure.
I mean, we've already discussed, the themes running through it, and it is a very, very deep film on many levels.
And Kronos is not going to get political here. That's good, Kronos.
That's
I
good.
appreciate that.
I try to avoid politics.
That's a great decision.
Politics and religion, 2 subjects I don't really care to discuss in streams.
What is it? There are 3 rules about speaking publicly. Don't talk about politics, religion, or sex. And the only thing that I refute is I'll talk about sex all the live long day.
Yeah, I was just going to say 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
Yeah, right.
I can't resist talking about sex either because it's so much fun.
But I'm going to play some of this. Let's see how much I get away with. If I have to, I'll clip it out later, but this is some of the behind the scenes.
Fascination.
Cool.
He's kind of like, that'd be cool.
Okay. Well, this is cool.
It's a body set. It's everything. It's very strange. Once they encase you into that, it was a bit like being in a Matrix and Doubtfire. You're kind of freed by it.
Good night, everybody.
I'll be there, bring Jesse Ventura.
Because of my love of comedy, when I got this Doubtfire, it was like a dream come true. And when I'm on a set with Robin, you do get something different every time.
These 2 cannibals are eating a clown. One turns to the other and says, "Does this taste funny to you? How do you make a hanky dance? Little boogie in it."
It's the spirit in the machine. That's what he recognizes. A little spark that's quite different, a spirit of inquiry, a wonderful innocence. What exactly is it doing? He shows a number of characteristics like creativity, curiosity, friendship.
Would you please come with me?
Does this involve the window?
Oh, that's so good.
I really get to like him a lot. I'm the one who teaches the robot how
By
to...
the way, does any... Oh, there, Hallie Kate, okay, Eisenberg? She was so good. She was one of my favorite things in the movie because she was so cute. She was just such a little sweetheart. I just thought her performance was amazing. Like for a child actor, I'm always amazed by child actors when they're really young like this and they're so good. Like they totally get the character and they just, inhabit the character so fully and so well.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed.
I mostly know her from Pepsi commercials, but
that's where I know her from. I was like,
she looked
where
familiar.
the hell is this chick from?
Yeah, it's like I recognize this face, right? But I just couldn't place it. Yeah.
Kronos says, I forgot Sam was in it. Sam Neill, yeah, he is.
Well, Sam Neill was really at the top of his career back then, wasn't he? Like, he had the Jurassic Park and this, and he was like flying high.
Horizon.
Well, and yeah, Event Horizon, everything with John Carpenter, from Memoirs of an Invisible Man to At the Mouth of Madness. Like, there was so much going on with Sam Neill. And
he was on fire back then. Yeah.
Well, and I appreciate, like, some people say it's like, oh, why don't they have longer careers? And it's like, because they made their money and then they decided to go open a vineyard, much like Sam Neill.
Why not, eh? Well, yeah, the amount of money actors were getting paid then was pretty good pretty good salary, so why
Do
not?
you think that that is just a common assumption that actors in blockbuster films, like that they made a lot of money and they can rest on a bed full of money?
I don't know if it's
Or
a common assumption, but when I look at the salaries on some of these actors that have got paid for certain films, we are talking in the millions quite often, right? So,
but we are also talking about Robin Williams, who had a falling out with Disney twice about how much he was paid.
right.
And the question, I don't know. This is merely a question. I'm curious.
hmm
Is do they make as much money as we, the audience, assume that they made?
Well, all I can do is look up the figures, if there's information about the film and the budget. And, sometimes you can find information about what the
It
cast,
didn't make much.
received, but
But they know I love you.
ultimately, who knows, right? Because they got to pay taxes, I would assume, as like anybody else does. So,
Well, exactly. And that's something, it was Taraji P. Henson, right?
still, if you can afford to go off and run a vineyard, you must have put a few bucks away in the bank somewhere, right?
Or maybe you were just frugal and financially responsible, something that I'll never be.
Well, that helps too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Wes
great.
Cagle.
Wes Cagle. Hello,
Hey,
Wes
Wes Cagle.
Cagle.
Hello.
He says,
Greetings, and felicitations.
Wes
great to
Cagle.
see you.
Delicious.
And so I'm going to play a little more of this. see
Yes,
what happens.
please continue, Jill.
There's a lot of music I don't get in trouble for.
Oh,
It's public domain.
it's classical though, so you're probably safe. Well, maybe, possibly.
But it's, hopefully. Oh,
Hopefully.
Kronos wants to watch this movie again, and that's the whole reason I make these live streams, to inspire
Yeah.
people to revisit things. So that's great.
Did you guys find that transition when they're playing the piano jarring, like from a little kiddo to an adult woman, in like a second? I found that a little bit jarring, to be honest. So I got the
I
point of it because she's aging and obviously he's not. I totally got the point of that, but I found it a
Mhm.
little bit like, whoa, that's quite a change, because we
I
just jumped like 20 something years or whatever, in like a matter of a few seconds.
I suppose I did. I suppose I
It
did
did
find
seem
it.
sudden, but it needed to happen.
Mhm.
Well, it made
But
sense to the story, of course, yeah. But I just found it like, whoa, that's quite a change in a very short amount of time,
yes. Well, and just based on, like, when you go into a movie called Bicentennial Man, you assume that there are going to be 200 years.
Well, I thought it was going to be about the American Revolution or something anniversary, right? Bicentennial. Now, I was like, this is going to take place
Yeah.
in like 76 or whatever, right?
Well, and this is one of the worst, most offensive jokes that I've made about a movie ever.
Uh-oh.
Is like 12 years a slave. Well, at least I know it only lasted 12 years. And so with Bicentennial Man, it's the same situation. It's like, okay, so this guy is going to live for 200 years. And so when they do transition between Little Miss being the young lady into her being, a grown woman, I'm assuming about 17 to 20 years old here.
And not so
Uh,
little miss.
Not so Little Miss. Well, better than Miss.
Well, that's
F
the
that
weirdest thing.
blonde. And
She's
so I
obviously
do.
older.
She looks in her early 20s, I'm guessing.
But that's
And
also, like, we haven't talked about the old person makeup, and they do that with Sam Neill. They do that with Embeth
Oh, yeah.
Davis. They
Yeah.
do that with the Mrs. Martin, who played the wife on Air Force One. Anyway, so, but there is and they do it again with Rupert. Like, I think that they do sort of cast middle of the road, just so that they can play younger and older.
Yeah, they
Interesting
do.
point,
That's
Scotty.
exactly what they do.
Hmm.
Mr. MH, I remember watching Bicentennial Man in the cinema when it
I
came
read that
out.
already.
I know, but he posted it again, so I
Oh,
suppose he
okay.
didn't hear
Well, go
him.
ahead, Joe.
I suppose he didn't hear it being read. And remember, it received bad reviews, but those people must have been watching something else, as this film had deep and heavy things.
You know what?
That's
One
definitely part of it.
PvP. One of the things that I have discovered, and I'm sure that you have as well.
Oh, and Wes Cagle does tear up on this movie, especially when Little Miss passes away.
It is. I think that there are a lot of tear moments. I think that there are a lot of moments where your soul, there's a weight on your soul. It does make you feel emotions.
Oh,
but
I
also,
held back for the first hour, and then the second hour, I broke into sobbing a few times, I got to admit. But I'm an old sentimental softy anyway, right? So
I'm a middle-aged sentimental softy, so I understand. But also,
yeah, it is a very heartbreaking
it was,
movie, but
it was good tears. You know, sometimes crying is a release and it makes you feel good. You know,
of course.
Yeah, well, but it's not all negative tears, definitely.
Oh yeah, negative tears are totally different. Yeah.
Well, and I've had this conversation with Ben from Cinema Gulp. Everybody go subscribe to Cinema Gulp. Is
definitely
one of my favorite things is when I watch a film, I want to feel feelings.
Oh, yeah.
I want, whether it be manipulation or good storytelling or however you do it, I want to feel something. I don't want to be given a list of plot points that lead me to the end and then I say, yay, they won.
That made sense.
Well, the worst thing is when you watch a movie.
If it makes sense, that's good. But if there was no emotion in it, and part of what helps that emotion along is James Horner's score, I think was pretty good for this movie in terms of helping them along those emotional moments.
James Horner wrote a lot of great stuff.
Well,
but
and
I just think the worst thing about a movie I can say is when you watch you spend 2 hours watching something, and at the end of it you go, well, I'll never get those 2 hours of my life back, right? Because it just doesn't do anything for you, right? And I've been there, a few times to say the least.
Well, anytime you behold or are engaged with art,
yes,
like the reason that you want to, you are looking at it for a purpose of, please, enlighten, entertain, make me feel something. I want to see this.
Engage my mind or my emotion. Yes.
Yeah. And so if I watch something and it absolutely falls flat, that's when I check out and I'm like, I don't even, whatever.
Franco Walker says I'm an old git that cries at the drop of a hat.
Hey, welcome to the club there, Franco. I'm a member too.
Not the eye squirts. PvP has a bad case of the sentimental softies. Please keep him in your prayers and thoughts.
Oh, thank you, Teatime. That's very kind. That's a very sweet thing to say. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Do appreciate it.
And it is kind of funny they have a Titanic reference in this movie because James Horner did also do the score for Titanic and also teamed up with Celine Dion for the theme songs.
By the way, Celine Dion is not overly loved in Canada, I must say. I find her stuff kind of syrupy and saccharine a lot of the time.
Thank you, little miss.
That wasn't intentional, but yes.
Well, I hope not.
Thank you.
Because I'm not little and I'm not a miss, so thank you very much, Jill.
I just wanted to play the video a little more, but I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. But no, but here it was just a running joke to annoy someone with the Titanic theme song.
Near, far, wherever you are.
He goes through phases. He has what he calls upgrades. There's phase one, which is what he was sent from the factory, and then there's the next phase.
It's a Pygmalion story, but of course it's maybe rather unnerving when you've got a robot that has exceeded his specs.
There's everything.
A Pygmalion story. That's a good thought. I didn't think of that.
To purchase one's freedom.
Even though he started.
I didn't either. I didn't think about that either. So Pygmalion is Greek mythology, and it was about a
Pigs.
sculptor. No, it was about a sculptor. He was a sculptor who carved out a woman out of ivory. And
We do see
What was
that
the
scene
name?
later. We do see that
What
scene
was
in
the
the
name of
movie
that
too.
woman?
oh,
Her
I don't
name
know.
was Galatea.
Really?
Love it. Love it how they work in all those references.
Huh.
Oh, Windows user.
I am a Windows user. Anyway, I should have studied this story a little more, but it's pretty cool that they really do that Sam Neill saw that theme in here. Of
Now, by
loving
the
a
way,
statue.
Pygmalion is also a play written by George Bernard Shaw. I just looked up here.
And I assume the statue comes to life and stuff. Yeah, lost its hardness.
Wow, there's an opera written in 1745, melodrama in 1762. Man, it's got a long history. This thing. It's like there's like a half, probably about 10 different incarnations of Pygmalion over the years.
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah,
also
definitely.
films. 1935 film, 1937 film, 38, 48, 83. That was a television film, that one. But wow, it's got a long history.
Mhm.
So I'm not
Oh yeah,
surprised it showed
definitely.
up in this film.
What?
I do love it though when they.
How is she's all that of this? I don't understand. Anyway,
Well, she's all.
much more.
what?
Isn't she's all that? Isn't that? Oh wow, is that Pygmalion? Okay, no, I got
I don't know
she's all.
how. It's just a girl who has glasses on, and then they take off her glasses.
No, but it's a matter of transformation, I think.
Okay.
No, I got 10 things I hate about you mixed up with she's all that. So
Of a human being than a lot of the human beings in the movie are, you know.
At a certain point, he goes out to try and find another like himself.
And background. Action.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
I love his expression now. He's like, "Hey, I found a hot mama."
Oh my god!
That makes his disappointment even sadder. Yeah, don't play the music.
Really wants
Aretha Franklin will be fine with it.
Well, I'm sure
Well,
Aretha will be
I'm
fine.
sure
with
she'll
it,
be
but-
fine because she's no longer alive. So
Oh my god! Yeah, but I'm just, I want to be able to keep this segment.
things that we take for granted.
Yeah,
and
don't take too many
I will
chances.
fund your research.
This is an external physical upgrade only.
Oh, that's weird. I love that scene. I love that scene.
Miss?
No.
No?
No.
Never done. And his search
Yeah?
was for a partner,
No.
a soulmate.
I think you just say you're jealous. Yeah, we do that. Forget the art thing. Just look at him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's not all like kindness and goodness. I mean, he can be jealous. He can be, angry.
Well, she's pissed. That's why you're an engagement party that I wasn't invited to. Yeah, obvious reasons. She can marry whoever she likes. It's just that one day she's going to wake up next to him and realize that she is married to a man whose face closely resembles an antique can opener.
It's a science and fable. Like all fables, it talks about something other than just the story itself.
Take the next step. Complete your destiny.
It worked. What the hell is going on? I am the proud owner of a central nervous system.
You can.
It's everything we say it is.
Look what I'm doing here. I am trying to make something of myself. I am trying to fulfill my destiny.
There we go.
I do.
That's enough.
Yeah, and
That was good.
Like the revisiting of this movie has made me incredibly happy. It's filled my heart with what's that called?
Joy.
Joy. I remember that. This is amazing, and this is the kind of fun that I enjoy.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
it was
I
great.
think we're coming close to the end here of our live stream, and I think I'd like to wrap things up. So if there's any final
Oh,
thoughts
you're
you want to
wrapping
talk
up a little
about.
bit early today. Ooh,
Yeah, a little
interesting.
bit early. I think
Well,
I
that's
think
okay.
because we covered the complete movie, I went through everything that I have to share.
I got an appointment in 40 minutes anyway, so I would have to leave in about 20 minutes anyway, so it's no worries there, Jill.
Well, perfect timing then, huh?
Always
Let's be
perfect
fair.
timing.
The whole thing has gone south since Retro Nerd Girl left.
Well, of course it did,
Well, I
but
don't know about that.
we held things together the
Thanks
best
for
we
the
could.
compliment there,
The
Scotty.
best we could.
Happy, happy, joy,
Happy
joy.
joy. Oh, yes, I
Happy,
remember
happy, joy,
Ren
joy.
and Stimpy. Gotta love the old Ren and Stimpy cartoons.
Thank you, Jill and panel. Thank you, chat. Yeah, so do you have any
Cheers,
final
Franco.
closing thoughts or anything you want to talk about and promote your things that you want to share? So
Well,
PvP, what do you have to share
I just wanted
about
to
this
mention.
movie and what do you want to share, live stream or promote something?
Yeah, okay. Well, you got Scotty on. Okay. uh, yeah, I just want to say there's nothing much happening on my channel right now. I usually upload, maybe an album or a playlist every weekend. I try to. So, everybody's welcome to go on there, once a week or so and check things out. Not a whole lot happening there at the moment, but I always try to add a little bit of stuff every week. I just want to mention probably my main thing for today would be I just want to mention Gorilla's Random Thoughts is doing his usual Waltons review. I think around 5 p.m. Pacific time, so you can calculate that to your own time zone. And those are always a lot of fun because it's usually me, a Gorilla, and Germ. What's his name? Oh, I forget his first part's name.
Resolute Germ.
Resolute Germ. That's what the resolute part I couldn't remember. There's usually the three of us, and we go through an episode once every Friday, and it's usually a lot of fun. And we usually get pretty crazy, so it's pretty entertaining. We usually end up making ourselves laugh a lot, so it's a good time. So I just wanted to mention that if anybody wants to check it out, it's fun. Let's see. Other than that, well, about final thoughts about the movie. I think we pretty well touched on everything. I really appreciate Robin Williams' talent, but I'm not always a fan of everything he does. Like sometimes it could be hit or miss for me, but he was really great in this film. So yeah, I guess that's about it, Jill. So I guess that I've pretty well said my piece today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, PvP, for being here. And also Scotty R37. I think you did talk about it, but talk about it again.
More. First things first, if you want to catch up with me, head over to X, and I'm at Scotty R37. Also on the YouTubes, I am so lucky to be able to hang out with Kat and Steve over on the Phantasmagorium show. Most of my time, unfortunately, for most of Jill's fans, is with Jill. We're a couple of friends and I enjoy hanging out with her and kibitzing. I do get to hang out with Pop Culture Curator on the rumblings from the lab, but I do absolutely enjoy the things that he's talking about when it comes to Lost in Space and Gilligan's Island. You should go check out Admiral Teague's channel and see Saving Star Trek. He is saving it.
Oh, yeah, he will be today. That's true.
Yeah, apparently later. And yeah, who else do I have? Oh me. Just
Cinema
me.
Gulp. Oh,
Oh,
you.
Cinema Gulp. Why the fuck did I? Sorry about the swear. Why did I forget about Cinema Gulp? Oh, you should check out Cinema Gulp. He's got like several years of content that you can hang out and enjoy. It is amazing. And from what I understand, there's going to be a Return of the King show coming up.
Yes. The next weekend is going
For all
to,
of you
no, not next weekend.
people.
The weekend after next week. So next time I'll mention it next weekend because
Keep an eye out for that there Hobbit Return of the King.
Yeah, I will be in that video, so it'll be so awesome.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. And also,
I'm so
what? Mr.
happy that
Brown's
Ben allowed me
Alliance
on
we
there.
gotta promote because he's dope.
Oh yeah, Mr. Brown is a splendid friend of the channel, and he's a wonderful person to be around. And I'm just so grateful that he is a part of YouTube, and his show is
Nerdtorial
really
life
good.
form.
Oh man,
How
this
many
is
people
a
are we supposed to promote? How many can I promote? Do I have like a
I
limit?
don't know. Like, but this is part of my favorite thing about YouTube. It's one of the things that draws me to it is that we can help talk about everybody who is sharing what is very important to them in their heart and what they want to share. And Nerdportal Lifeform definitely does that with his deep dive retrospectives that he works really hard on. He does such a good job.
Stark of Iron, Tony Stark.
Oh yeah, Tony Stark. Yeah, he likes this aspect of YouTube too because he's done something really amazing, which is he's gotten the idea to ask creators to create a commercial for their channel, and he will play the commercial on his channel to promote other YouTubers. And I think that is just a phenomenal idea, absolutely brilliant, to go along with his nighttime show, his show that he started doing on Sundays, a short interview show, which is really cool.
Fingers crossed. So, I'm just celebrating everybody who is contributing to film and pop culture conversation. I enjoy all of your voices. I also enjoy disagreeing with some.
Yeah, and Franco Walker says, I need food. Bye all. Take care, everyone, and much love to you all.
Cheers, Franco.
Yeah, I
Hi,
was trying
Franco.
to
Have
go
a
too
good
until
meal.
Daddy started a
Sci-fi model guy. He's going to be starting back up again.
Yeah.
Oh, Sean Carter's gonna make some more. Yeah, definitely. He's
Pop
been
culture
really,
curator.
he's
Why
been
didn't I say his
really
name?
busy. You did mention pop culture curator. You mentioned
I'm
his
drunk.
Gilligan's Island streams and everything. And no, Sean Carter does incredible work, incredible, absolutely stupendous work on his channel, creating not just creating models, but expertly adding lighting and props to go with it.
Speaking of Lost in Space, have you watched the first color one yet?
No, not yet. But
Oh,
here's the
you're gonna
link
have fun.
to Sean Carter. So I'm so glad you
We
mentioned him.
we prefer to call them episodes of color.
Well, they will be colorful for sure, and
Oh, they'll be very colorful.
So
you can't call them
I
colored
think
episodes. It's racist.
No.
It's not.
In
You're just
color.
being silly, Scotty.
I
You're
am.
just
Color. You are being silly.
You're just being silly. But anyway,
So
if you
should I
want
go
more
now?
silliness,
Can I go now? Are we done?
you can leave if you like. I'm trying to wrap things up, but I kind of
all right.
missed my
Just a
through
quick
line,
question.
and I'm working my way towards.
You doing Voyager tomorrow, Jill?
Am I doing Voyager tomorrow? I don't remember. Yeah, yes, I'm doing Voyager. It's only 2 episodes. 2 episodes of Voyager. So let me see the list of Voyager
Well, what do you
episodes.
do on the internet, Jill?
Well, I'd love to talk about science fiction, but I'll talk about anything. I have a extensive list of 500 movies so far that I want to see. I don't know how I'm going to get through all of these movies, but I'm just so grateful that I have a plethora of things to watch, so I don't have to
Tank
worry
Girl?
about. Yeah, Tank Girl can be one of them, definitely.
Yeah, Tank Girl. That could be an interesting watch. I haven't seen that one either.
And so we're finishing off season 3 over at Clyburn Times channel, and the 2 episodes we're reviewing are Worst Case Scenario and Scorpion Part 1, because Clobby is okay with ending things on a cliffhanger now. We used to watch both of the cliffhangers together because we were so excited to see the end, but now we're able to be patient and wait a week.
Oh, I think Scorpion is really a good one, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
That is the reputation for it. Well,
that might be my favorite two-parter of the whole series.
It is the origin that leads us into an incredible character of Voyager. So everybody's excited for 7 of 9 over at
7 of 9.
Saturday Night Star Trek at 9 p.m. Central Time. Check it out tomorrow.
7 of 9 kind of saved that show, really.
She did. And so,
by the way, Jill, I just want to ask. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to thank Wes Cagle. He says, "Great first month of membership. Thanks, Jill, and thank you, Wes Cagle, for deciding to become a member. I hope there will be a membership stream next Wednesday at noon. So please join us. There's
Oh
a lot
man,
of new members. It's gonna be
I
fun.
hope my membership holds out.
Me too. And the trilogy extended. Yeah, exactly. The extended cut is the only way to watch Lord of the Rings. So Scotty has never seen Lord of the Rings in its proper format. Frank Walker
Don't
says,
give a
"Take
good
care, everyone,
goddamn."
and much love to you all." And I will talk to you
There's
guys
only
later.
one return. It's of the Jedi.
And Return of the King. I love them both. Why do you have to choose? And
Because
sci-fi
one's
and
boring.
fantasy.
I just
Well,
have
that's an objective opinion that is totally wrong. But I will see you guys later.
I just have a quick question before you go, Jill.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know if you're
Storytelling.
if you want to do
It's
Uncle Avengers
revolutionary.
on Sunday, because
Oh.
we didn't do it last week.
Okay. I will think about it and I'll message you later because that's more of a messaging kind of thing. But I will
Okay.
talk to you guys later. I'll see you soon. But obviously
Okay.
though, I do watch parties at around noon on Cosme, and Cosme is a public website where people watch videos and stuff. So I do that sometimes. If you're ever signed up to Cosme, I'm Anti-Derivative Jill over there too. If you ever want to friend me over there, that's cool. And because all my watch parties are public, so you're welcome to show up if you see me watching something.
Not if
Anybody
you're
is.
watching Lord of the Rings.
Well, you don't have to. I'm not forcing
Thank
anybody.
heavens. Yeah.
The ugliness is within you.
It's a lie!
Was that directed at Scotty?
And rightly so.
Jill's got a clip for everything. I'm starting to think.
You are great. I am great.
Anyway,
Oh
you guys.
Brain! What is brain?
Oh, I'm just getting excited. Okay, I have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you all next time. Talk to you later.
See you soon, Jill. Bye.
It is a pleasure to be of service.
I'm gonna leave you all with a preview for the next original series episode I'm going to review, which is The Empath, and it's one of the few original series episodes that made me pass out in the middle of the day.
It's one of the
So
ones.
gonna be
I'm
really
weird.
fun
I
to
actually
watch.
enjoyed that. I enjoy that episode. It's because of the Scotty Kirk Spock
Well,
interaction
you
in the
know
episode.
what? If you ever wanted to submit a
Cry me
review for
McCoy.
that, I will read it for you if you like. But I will see you guys later. Bye now.
Okay, later, Gators.
The future.
Are you responsible for bringing us here?
She's a mute, Jim. No vocal cords. She must be an empath. Do not interfere. Jim, what happened to them? You are on schedule. Some further simple tests are necessary. You will decide which of your men we shall use. He's dying, Jim.
One specimen will be sufficient. You will come with us.
Please tell me what I'm dying for.
No freezers, no fucking ice cream.
No more cigarettes for you. Absolutely smashing.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, you know, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.